A few months ago, I attempted a challenge where I tried to use only unevolved Pokemon to reach the highest rank on the in-game ladder. And it was awful. Just a fully miserable experience. I sweated, grinded, and lucked my way through what felt like endless, nearly unwinnable battles. An ordeal so draining that when I finally completed it, I said that I never want to do this type of challenge again. So I decided to make all my friends do it instead, but with even weaker Pokemon. I hosted an 8-person tournament where the only Pokemon allowed are the Pokemon that haven't evolved at all. I knew that a tournament on such a small scale would be a big challenge, so I had to grab some of the biggest hitters that I know. I've assembled 8 of the most talented players in the game, from players with literal world championships under their belt to those who have dominated other formats, and of course, I'll be there competing alongside them as well. Because what sort of friend would I be if I made them go through this alone? And more importantly, what sort of friend would I be if I didn't try to beat them? But before we get to the players, let's talk about the format itself, because this unevolved format is unlike any other one that I've ever played before. This format is actually a little bit different than the one that I took up on the in-game ladder. There, I was only allowed Pokemon that hadn't evolved at all, or Pokemon that evolved from baby Pokemon. But in this tournament, any Pokemon that's evolved, whether from a baby or otherwise, is fully not legal. And of course, all the Pokemon that don't evolve period are also not legal, so you can't use Absol or Tropius or any of those Pokemon. Dondozo. A few months ago, in a separate video, I made a list of the best not fully evolved Pokemon of all time, but I'm not going to get a chance to use most of them here, because, except for 4, all of the ones mentioned were second stage Pokemon. Now, this is a format that has almost never been played, even unofficially, and that's part of what makes it so exciting.
I have always wanted a Little Cup format, so I was really excited to try it out for once because I've never played it before.
Yeah, when Wolf invited me to this tournament, I was really excited just because, yeah, like the idea of playing in the regular rule set, like double battle and item clause and all of that, but with Pokemon we usually don't get to see at all, like sounded really exciting.
This is like a little breath of fresh air. I was super hyped to be involved with this. A lot of us, this is not what we usually play, so this allows us to exercise our team building skills and playing with unfamiliar Pokemon.
Because it isn't popular, there's a whole host of unique challenges that we normally don't have to face. But these challenges are also part of what makes it fun. None of us have any idea which Pokemon are good, or even which items are good, but that's part of what makes this exciting.
Yeah, it's honestly been pretty difficult building for this Little Cup tournament, just because it's like pretty much all theory, and I don't think any of us have had a lot of time to practice and really refine our team, so it's going to be definitely quite interesting.
It's not quite traditional competitive Pokemon, because all the Pokemon we're using would normally not even be tall enough to enter the stadium, but it's also not quite the Little Cup fan format that other players have played before in single battles. Because we'll be playing at level 50, not level 5, and we're playing doubles, not singles. There are some Pokemon that look a bit familiar, the miniature versions of long-standing competitive Pokemon threats. And yet...
I mean, we talk a lot in VGC about like the mental game that you take when you're in a competitive field, and I feel like this takes on a whole different layer that trainers aren't necessarily aware of or prepared for, because you are literally battling against some of the cutest Pokemon out there, and so you kind of have to question yourself a little bit about, you know, what they do. And I suppose when you look at like their next evolutions, like take Litten for example, we all know what Incineroar does, but that doesn't mean that Litten is going to be able to operate in exactly the same way. And at the same time, you have to really ask yourself, can you KO such a cute Pokemon? And that sometimes is the question that will decide a game, at least from my perspective. I know a lot of the other veterans are like, yeah, sure, let's just get a win out here. And I'm like, well, what about the moral victory?
Now, aside from the moral implications, entering Baby World here can feel like you've been dropped into Bizarro Land, a place where internal damage calculators that we've spent years honing spit out the wrong results. The Pokemon may be small, but the moves are not. When I was doing my unevolved Pokemon run, Sneasel taking a rain-boosted Kingdra Muddy Water with Life Orb felt like the literal embodiment of Coughing Baby versus Hydrogen Bomb. Basically, everything in this format just explodes, unless it's holding the undisputed best item that you can use, Eviolite. Eviolite increases any Pokemon that can still evolve further's defense and special defense stats by a whopping 50%. And in this tournament, any Pokemon can hold it. Of course, we are playing with item clause, which means you only get one Eviolite on your team. Choosing which Pokemon holds it is going to be a big deal. Even amongst the game's tiniest threats, some pack more of a punch than others. In fact, some pack way more of a punch. Lorsy mentioned earlier that one of the biggest changes here will be using unfamiliar Pokemon, and picking those Pokemon will be one of the biggest tests of this tour. Whoever can find the best Pokemon in the format will have a huge edge. and there are some strong contenders.
Wolf was very generous in leaving just a bunch of randomly really broken things like available. I get it. Some people are like, oh, we like broken stuff.
Hey, I did some banning, okay? We've done a bit of work to cut the biggest threats down to size. There are some Pokemon who, despite being fully unevolved, clearly outmatched the rest of the competition. Most often, these are Pokemon who used to be a base stage until later evolutions were given, such as Basculin, Girafarig, and Duraludon. Here's the full list of banned Pokemon, which just so happens to ban every last Pokemon that I was using on my Master Ball Climb team, except for Pikachu. Pikachu, by the way, is one of the only 3 survivors from the list of strongest unevolved Pokemon I made, alongside its sometimes fellow mascot Eevee, who's totally useless without its signature Z Crystal. The other 2 base stage Pokemon were Murkrow and Cottony, the 2 prankster Tailwind users. Murkrow has been banned, and Cottony lost Tailwind this generation, which is the main reason that it made the list in the first place. But I can tell you now, when Lorsy was talking about broken Pokemon, Pikachu is not the broken Pokemon that Lorsy was talking about, in large part because it evolves from Pichu, meaning it's banned. Now, everyone has brought very different teams to this tournament, but there are 2 Pokemon so powerful, so meta-defining, that it's my duty to make sure that you, the viewer, don't go into this video without knowing what they are, because trust me, every one of our competitors has been thinking about them.
The first one is Porygon 1.
Porygon is one of the biggest ones.
Don't want to see Porygon.
Gligar and Porygon.
Gligar is also super broken.
In my opinion, the best Pokemon, Gligar, and I think everybody is trying to counter that Pokemon.
One Pokemon that's going to be devastating is Gligar, of course. It isn't even really a Little Cup Pokemon. It's just happy to be there.
Like, just in my opinion, like Gligar is like definitely one of the best Pokemon, maybe the best Pokemon of this format.
That thing is a problem.
That's right. Gligar and Porygon are the undisputed top dogs in this tournament, and everybody knows it. Gligar might seem pretty basic, but basic is fine when your stats are this good. In addition to being absurdly physically bulky, it is one of the best speed tiers in the format. Great attack, an ability that makes it immune to Intimidate, and a slew of strong attacking moves, especially thanks to its 2 great attacking types. With a base stat total of 430, Gligar has 35 more points than the next legal Pokemon. That next Pokemon, of course, is Porygon. Now, I already told you that most of the Pokemon from my best unevolved Pokemon ever list are, like, they're not legal here, but that doesn't mean that they're not here in spirit. Porygon 2 is the undisputable best not fully evolved Pokemon of all time, and Porygon 1 laid out its original programming. Porygon is a phenomenally bulky Pokemon with Eviolite that pulls shifts as the best Trick Room setter. It's also super customizable via its good coverage and Terra Blast, which works as a solid normal type attacking move before Porygon terastallizes, and then will change type after terastallization. Porygon's even scarier when its ability Download works in its favor. This seemingly 2-dimensional Pokemon is actually really complex, and we'll see some of that nuance come to bear in a bit. These 2 Pokemon might be broken, and maybe you think that's lame that some of the Pokemon are just stronger than the others, but here's the thing. All of us playing realized pretty quickly that these 2 Pokemon were the best in the format, but the roster of players I've assembled is too strong to fall for the trap of just trying to bring these top Pokemon. Instead, what they have to do is gauge their strength. What are the counters to those counters? These might be small Pokemon, but this is full-on, full-skill team building, and the winner is going to be the player who prepped the best. If you think this format looks fun and you want to play it for yourself, I'm hosting a tournament on December 20th for Patreon members of all tiers. The prize for winning the tournament is one of the 3 Gothitelle I got in preparation for this year's European International Championships. If you watched that video, you know that I ended up going through the motions, going back into Omega Ruby 3 separate times to get this Gothitelle, and I'll be giving away the first one I ever got to the winner, which has the title The Shining Star. If you want to join, all the information is available on Patreon. WolfGlick's Tiny Terror Invitational begins now. We've divided the 8 players into 2 groups of 4, each of which will play 3 games of round robin. The 2 players with the best record will move on, with the tiebreakers going to game count and then to Pokemon count. We'll start in group 1, and we're kicking things off with a grudge match. I said that the winner of this tour would probably be the person who prepped the best. The problem is, we know who the contender is for that title. It's none other than regional winner, SEO expert, and prep monster extraordinaire, Justin Karras, who happens to be playing this tournament on a very special day.
I am a longtime VGC competitor. I've been playing Pokemon, I think 10 years now, so I'm like really old. Literally today is my 30th birthday, so playing a kid's game with other people my age, also old, in their 30s.
Hey, I'm still 29, senior citizen. Pipe down over there. Now, Justin might be one of the people who's most excited for this tournament, and he has garnered quite a reputation already.
I'm pretty nervous about playing Karras. I think out of everyone in the tournament, Karras probably has the most practice.
Now, how does everybody know that Justin has the most prep? Well, Simple, he's been sharing it with us. See, Justin has developed a bit of a reputation in these tournaments. He's our deep dive guy, the player who will spend time researching, developing, and then even sharing his findings with the other players, all for the sake of good Pokemon. Last tournament, he wrote a full 9-page guide to auction strategy, and this time he's followed that up with a full spreadsheet, including sample teams, speed tiers, and even a list of spotlight Pokemon, complete with notes, including a whole special section dedicated to me?
So this was also part of my little dossier where I pointed out all the Pokemon that I literally said in the comments, don't get dunked on by Wolfey, don't get dunked on by Wolfey.
This section, in case you're wondering, includes every single legal perish song and trapping Pokemon in the format. My reputation precedes me. He's our friendly guide for the format, but Justin is also one of the most competitive people I know, and if we just follow his advice blindly, we might run into trouble.
Me pointing out Cubfu, I think people might have gotten baited by that. It's not that strong. I think it needs like a choice band in order for it to even like do the damage that it's supposed to. Watching me lose to Cubfu because I talk crap about it right now.
However, what Justin wants more than anything is for good Pokemon to be played. And to that end, he's ended up with one of the most fearsome teams in the roster, even against his own instincts.
The cool ideas that I had just felt so easy to overwhelm with like simple stuff. I built a lot of teams to like theoretically counter or like just give myself some type of field breadth. So I built like this rain team, I built a sand team so that way other people would have things like throw at me, and all of the fun stuff that I tried to make couldn't really handle that. So I had to like lean into the more broken stuff that exists, the higher base stat stuff.
Justin's team leans into Pokemon that can achieve what their evolutions have become famous for already. Porygon sets up Trick Room, Foongus spreads Spore and Rage Powder, Scraggy provides Fake Out, Intimidate, and good damage, and Elekid destroys opposing Spore with its Vital Spirit Follow Me. All of this in service of the two big hitters on his team. The first is a bulky Gligar prone to taking over matches after setting up one Swords Dance, and the other is the only Pokemon on Justin's team that is unique, a nasty plot Terra Fairy Ghastly with Dazzling Gleam. Ghastly, puffs of gas though it may be, has a whopping 100 special attack, which isn't a lot compared to Calyrex, but is a lot compared to Applin, and with the Focus Sash, it can often get off 2 attacks before going down. 2 attacks is all it might need to win, which is exactly why Justin has double redirection in the first place. It's a scary team, although Justin himself is quick to admit its weakness.
I'm prepared for rain, like I practiced into it, and Cutie Fly, like I built those teams to like actually show people these things work, they're really strong, don't have like a crap time against it. But it was also a little sinister. It was like, okay, my teams do really good into these, by the way, don't use these ideas. And that's a lie. My teams have terrible matchups into all of those. So I was trying to like make people think like, oh no, he'll be prepared for this. I don't have to run this. So if somebody does use like Cutie Fly Impidimp, I'm screwed. I'm probably gonna get run over.
Speaking of Cutie Fly, that's the very centerpiece of Joshua Lorsy's team. And for Lorsy, this match is personal.
Listen, I've known Justin for over 10 years. Me and him have a little rivalry. I don't want to say rivalry, but we got a little something going on, you know what I'm saying? A little something. After the last tour, the invitation that I was invited to, and when he stole my Indeedee, I want my get back, guys. I want to play him, and I need to destroy him. That's just me. That's just me.
These two are extremely close friends, intimately familiar with each other's strategies, and have had super similar careers, which of course means they want more than anything to beat each other. Justin and Lorsy go way back. Take a look at this photo from 10 years ago. In fact, they placed first and second at this tournament, in a pattern that's held true over that entire decade.
Lorsy is also like, I think he's like a lifetime 0-10 against me. So like, I think I'm his biggest bracket demon. And I think the first time I ever played him, I like got a crit on his Aegislash. So that's why I'm still undefeated. Like he should have absolutely beat me in the first time we ever played. Every match since then, it's been much cleaner and always in my favor, but there's always just like a lot of camaraderie.
The last time they faced off was in my auction invitational, as Lorsy mentioned. Justin took it upon himself to snipe Lorsy's Indeedee, the linchpin of his team, and then went on to beat him again in the tournament. But don't let that trick you into thinking that Lorsy isn't a threat.
Lorsy is always a terrifying player to play against because he makes like just the most insane reads. Like half of the time he'll like make a read and you will never have thought of this play in a million years, and obviously it will have worked out for him. So Lorsy, terrifying player. I think I would have to really be playing my best.
He's got wins on other players in this very bracket, some of the best of the best, and he does it with one particular strategy that everybody knows him for.
For those who know me, you guys know I'm the balance berry, I'm the balance guy. Balance is what I do. That's just me. I'm digging Cutie Fly, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Cutie Fly is kind of fire. I'm not gonna lie.
Lorsy is one of the few players in the tournament not running either Porygon or Gligar, but his team is far from threatless. Lorsy did his research. Cutie Fly is one of the premier Pokemon in this tier thanks to its ability to take over games after a few quiver dances, similar to Volcarona in traditional competitive Pokemon, except with the added bulk given by Eviolite. Lorsy's got some familiar supporting pieces to enable that setup, including a similar Fungus and Elekid to the ones that Justin is running, as well as the baby version of a Pokemon that I, for once, have gotten away with mentioning for longer than ever before. That's right, it's Litten, here to intimidate, fake out, and parting shot away, just like its big brother. Somehow, it's less infuriating when Litten does it. Lorsy's team is rounded out by a Hypercutter Corphish who can dish out big damage, and a Pokemon who's one of his favorites.
The Mudbray. Mudbray is one of my favorite Pokemon. As you can see right up there. Oh, there's that Mudbray all the way to the ceiling. So we'll be bringing Mudbray 100%. Gotta bring that Pokemon.
This is one of the really cool things about Little Cup. Players are able to use their favorites that might otherwise be relegated to never seeing competitive play. And Mudbray is actually really good. Just like Gligar, it can't be intimidated thanks to its inner focus ability. Unlike Gligar, however, it has base 100 attack, meaning nothing standing up to those high horsepowers. There's only one problem for Lorsy. Justin knows that Mudbray is coming.
If anybody is bringing Mudbray, it's that guy. He loves Mudsdale, so I know he's bringing Mudbray. Like, I literally have it in my prep doc where I'm like, all right, Lorsy is gonna have Mudbray. If he doesn't, I will be shocked.
Now, it's worth mentioning that there's more on the line here than just pride. The winner of this tournament gets $1,000, though everyone who enters will get at least $100. So even though these two are good friends, they're still gonna be doing their best to win. You've seen just how well they know each other. So let's see how that plays out in battle. Wait, there's an unseen contender in this battle. It's this video's sponsor, Raycon. What good is a battle without some music? Little Pokemon are surely befitting of some big tunes. And what better way to listen than with Raycon's Everyday Earbuds Classic? I've been using these earbuds for quite some time now, and they've been perfect for my lifestyle.
To Incineroar, or not to Incineroar? That is the question.
As someone who loves to go for runs, get home and lock in on my current team building project, Raycon's multi-point connectivity and long battery life is tailor-made for me. And they come in cool colors too. Have you ever seen mint-colored earbuds before? Oh man, I knew it was gonna get green screened out. Hold on. Have you ever seen mint-colored earbuds before? Ooh. And then I also have this case for them. Wow. That's not all. They're on sale right now too, with up to 20% off for the holiday season. Get your loved ones the gift of Raycon at 20% off site-wide this holiday season by clicking the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/Wolfey. Orders placed by December 15th will guarantee delivery by Christmas, because great gifts shouldn't show up late. All right, back to the battles. It's game one of the first set of the Tiny Terror Tour, and Justin's perfect record against Lorsy is on the line. Each player leads off with the stars of their team. It's Elekid and Cutie Fly for Lorsy, and the dual demons of Gligar and Porygon for Justin. The immediate focus on the field has got to be Cutie Fly, who Justin knows that he can't let snowball, especially with the redirection that's provided on the field. But Lorsy's redirection is not so effective against Earthquake, which means he's got other plans.
I'm gonna pivot and get out of here. This is super risky though. Like, Justin could go for dual Wind Wake and a double into a slot, but I don't know.
Oh crap, he volt switched. What's he going into?
The answer is Fungus, Lorsy's other redirector, who does not appreciate Justin's double up.
Goodbye, Fungus.
Okay, I see you.
But Cutie Fly gets the Quiver Dance off. So despite losing a Pokemon and the only damage to Justin's Pokemon coming from his own Earthquake, Lorsy has started his plan. And now he's got Corphish, the other big attacker on the field, threatening Gligar. But Justin has the perfect answer to Corphish's mono water moves in the back, plus a plan to go with it. While Lorsy protects Cutie Fly, Justin pivots in Fungus and sets up Trick Room, turning Cutie Fly's speed boost against it, though not Corphish's Swords Dance. Those twisted dimensions, as well as Cutie Fly's Protect, means Justin is free to double up into Cutie Fly on the next turn, taking it out, though at the cost of his own Porygon. The score is now 2-3, but Lorsy's got a +2 Corphish on his side of the field, one that just so happens to be wearing safety goggles, making it totally immune to Fungus's tactics. With Elekid's Vital Spirit out as well, Spore is effectively useless for the rest of the game, but Justin isn't worried.
I think I'm just going to be able to outdamage now.
After waiting out Corphish with a well-timed Protect and Terra Water, Justin goes full offense on Lorsy's No Protect Elekid. See, this Fungus doesn't need to Spore, it can click Sludge Bomb, just as long as Gligar's damage is enough.
Yes. Let's go.
Justin perfectly baits out the Terra and has just enough damage to finish off Elekid. A well-calibrated play even Lorsy has to respect.
That was smart. He played that so well.
Now it's Corfish versus the world, and that's a fight we won't even get to see, thanks to an unfortunate miss.
Grab hammer. Okay.
While Lorsy did get his setup going, he was ultimately thwarted, as so many have been before, by a pesky mushroom. But in this case, it wasn't even because of the spore, it was thanks to the damage. This is one of the quirks of this format. Because the Pokemon's defensive stats are so much lower than we're used to, strong moves like Sludge Bomb do a lot more damage than we've come to expect. The damage threat from Porygon and Gligar in the first game made Lorsy switch Elekid out immediately, so this time he's going to bring more upfront offense. But Justin is making an adjustment too.
He got me on leads. I don't like my matchup. Oh, dude, he got me on both leads. Yeah.
This time, it's Justin who's got a setup Pokemon next to Elekid, and with one game in his pocket already, he makes a bold read.
I don't love this play. This is actually not that great of a play, but yeah, he parting there. That's what I thought. Is he gonna Swords Dance? Crap Hammer? Oh my God! Read your life. Read your life.
Justin absolutely reads Lorsy, dodging Fake Out, keeping his Ghastly's Focus Sash intact, and getting good damage off. This is what enables him to go pedal to the metal on the next turn. Lorsy's thinking that Elekid will finally follow me to help keep Ghastly's Focus Sash intact, so he opts for Crab Hammer over Aqua Jet, but Justin reads it completely. Instead, he's going full spread move.
Please KO this Litten. Ghastly, you are so strong. No! That was a crit.
Ghastly may be strong, but it's not stronger than Incineroar's offspring. Lorsy's Litten tanks the crit and gets a parting shot off onto Ghastly, meaning he's able to bring in his Fungus and Cutiefly, but he still crucially has not yet done a single point of damage. Justin's feeling himself.
Also, what is with Ghastly? Dude, Ghastly be jittering. Bro has a jitterbug.
Still, Lorsy's not giving up. To win now, he's got to make some hard reads. Spore is a risky play thanks to Elekid, and moreover, Elekid has Taunt, which can totally shut down Fungus. So Lorsy's going to read into that. He'll protect Fungus and start setting up Cutiefly, his only hope of winning. Unfortunately for Lorsy, Justin's reading even harder.
Yeah, he protected. Bro, how many times are you going to let me read you? Like, this is embarrassing.
Oh my God!
I wasn't even coming into this thinking I'm going to be talking all this trash. Like, that's just crazy.
With that taunt, Justin seals up the match, and Lorsy's got to be content with another loss until next time.
Oh my, I can't beat Justin.
Meanwhile, Justin holds strong to his title as the favorite for this tournament. Well, one of the favorites. Justin might have done the prep work, but he'd never played this format before. The same can't be said for our next contestants, or rather, for one of them. But before we introduce our next players, quick announcement from your host here. If you want to see more tournaments like this one where we play with fun formats with quirky rule sets, make sure you subscribe. Seeing which videos people subscribe on actually helps determine which videos we make going forward. And so if you subscribe, you're not only telling YouTube you want to be notified when videos like this one are posted, but you also end up influencing which videos we make. Anyway, let's meet our next competitors. All three of them. Barish, Billa Akjosh, and Lou Akjosh Chromie, and their merry family of cats are competing together. Just like Justin, it's a very special day for them. It's their anniversary. Bill is one of Europe's most storied competitors, a man with multiple regional top cuts and a world's top 8 under his belt. Lou is one of the game's best commentators, a gig that usually keeps her busy from competing and disguises the fact that she's a skilled trainer herself. In fact, she's the only one with a tournament win in this format.
I like to feel like Little Cup is my niche, and that's where I can excel.
We took some inspiration from your team in the Players' Cup.
Yeah.
And we have, Coldfish on our team.
Fish. We have some original members of it. It's not just Fish. There's 2 members that are original from my Little Cup win. But that was a Dynamax format, so we'll have to see how well they do in a terrestrialization format.
Billa and Lou will be playing together on the same team as if they're an Emerald gym leader.
Tate and Liza, I don't remember. And you were used to only fighting one gym leader at a time. It's kind of like that. They're both very, very strong players.
Which, hey, it's their anniversary, it's allowed. Also, they're married. #love wins. That being said, it makes them even scarier that they're playing together.
I think it's a wild dynamic duo, but I'm not sleeping on them though. Don't get me wrong, Lou is very good at Pokemon, and as well Billa. So Two minds are definitely better than one.
I'm interested to see, will it be one of them playing or both of them playing? Are they each going to have one Joy-Con? Are they going to talk and then make their moves? I'm very excited. I think it'll be great.
The answer to how they're actually going to do this logistically is they're going to figure it out. But they do have some ground rules.
You can kind of have a little bit more fun with it. Obviously, when it comes to team building and I suppose competitive prowess, Barish takes like center stage for that. Definitely. And so I will have put a lot of faith and trust into Barish's decisions, but at the same time, because I had that one little cup experience, and it is the opportunity to have a little bit more fun and be a little bit more creative and play with your favorites, I guess.
Both of us can take down all of these players.
I think you can really look well at like what's likely to happen and the actual genuine most competitive option, and I'll be the one sparking out the completely off the wall play that doesn't make any sense, but if they do it, it's going to be bad. And then it's going to come down to who's got the controller at the time and who locks in the moves as quick as possible and who doesn't take down Litten, unless you can take it down in a one. It's not running a focus ash.
When it comes to their team, Billa and Lou have one rule. It's cuteness above all else. And for them, that means cats above all else, which makes perfect sense when you look at their room. The cat's constantly bombarding them, and their team of...
I know they wanted to have 3 cats on their team. Well, where are the cat Pokemon? They don't even have a Litten. Like, what's going on with that?
Well, what do you mean, Marcus? They're right there. You've got Catfish, Cat Friend, Cat Toy, Spooky Cat, Cat, and not a cat. Okay, so they've somehow abandoned all cat strategy, but that's because the team that they've built is terrifying. This team is hard Trick Room, with the core being the Corphish and Duskull that Lou used to win her tournament before. The mental herb ensures that Trick Room will go up, even against things like Taunt Elekid. And while Lorsy packed his Corphish with tools to keep its damage consistent against Redirection and Intimidate, Lou and Billa have one mode for the fish, all go, all the time, thanks to their Splash Plate adaptability set, which will virtually one-shot anything that doesn't resist it. Rounding out the team is a fake-out Grookey, the now very familiar Ice Beam Porygon, though this one's got Terra Flying, Assault Vest Scraggy, and Billa's personal addition to the team. You might remember that I mentioned Ghastly had one of the best special attacks in the format earlier. Meet the Pokemon with the best special attack, Glimmet. Glimmet's base 105 special attack and good speed tier makes it the glass cannon of this format. A cannon that, when it's got a Power Herb Meteor Beam boost, looks more like a bazooka. Now, if this team looks different from what we've seen so far, it's intentional. Billa and Lou chose to drop Gligar and counter it instead. They've anticipated what other players will do and are countering it preemptively, building a team that's unique to this format.
And I feel like a lot of trainers, you'll take like a legit team and try and make it in miniature, and it doesn't always work out the right way. You have to add something else to it. Otherwise, it's also then super predictable.
But their opponent is a competitor who's something of a wild card.
Originally, the way I made my team was I was copying like the best team. So I put Gligar as Ursaluna. I nicknamed Impidimp Grimmsnarl. I had a Hisuian Electrode named Miraidon, and I was kind of like going around like that based on like what's popular. But that didn't end up working out because I thought Hisuian Electrode kind of was a little too weak at level 50, even though it's kind of broken at level 5. And yeah, that was kind of just it. And I'm really excited though to see some of these teams. They look really, really fun.
If the joy in Joey's voice didn't let you know already, he did not just end up running a copy of a regular VGC team. After all, this is Pokéaim MD himself, and that's enough to strike fear into the hearts of anybody who knows even a fraction of this man's reputation.
Joey is like the most scariest opponent, I think, because this is his thing. He plays multiple formats. So he knows these tiers and he knows what's good and he knows what's bad.
Of course, Joey, in typical fashion, is trying to lower expectations for his run.
I was invited to this, and there's nobody else who plays singles in this, so I'm ready to go 0-4.
And it is true that Joey's got the least doubles experience of anybody here. I will also remind you that the last time he said he was going to go 0 wins and 4 losses, this man got top 8 at a regional. He's a master of Draft League. He's one of the most creative team builders on the planet. He's one of the only players here with any experience in Little Cup formats before, or as Justin puts it,
oh, I mean, being good at Mons is being good at Mons.
Are there going to be real people in this, or are there going to be people that I can't try hard versus?
Joey's taking the competition seriously, and for Joey, that means he's got a trick up the sleeve of every Pokemon on his team. While Joey's got both Gligar and Porygon, he's got a different look than every other player, because while Gligar is holding the Eviolite, his Porygon is the only one in the tournament with a different item, Choice Scarf.
Yeah, so Porygon, and I hope people don't know this, but Porygon has a really good speed tier that with a Choice Scarf, it's faster than Gligar. And Gligar is one of the fastest Pokemon if you're not looking at Pokemon like Electro, like Gligar and like Wingull, all speed type.
Of course, that means that his Porygon is not running Trick Room. It's got half of it though, kind of. It's got Trick. It's just missing Room. Water Deep Porygon. Do people get that? I don't know. Anyway, Joey's Porygon is Trick, which is a move that switches your item with your target.
I figured I have one Eviolite on my team, on my opinion, the best Pokemon, Gligar, and I think everybody is trying to counter that Pokemon, just looking at all their stuff, which I think is the fair way to do it. So why not take one of theirs with Porygon?
Sure, we are playing with Item Claws to prevent you from starting with multiple Eviolites, but Joey's a singles player. They don't have Item Claws. So his thought is, why not use Trick to end up with 2? Along with the big 2, Joey's bringing an Assault Vest Poniard, whose great stats make it very annoying to deal with, especially when paired with Prankster coaching Riolu. The annoyance goes up twice over when Screen's Impidimp hits the field, though Joey made one last-minute change to its set, switching out Misty Terrain for Thunder Wave. His personal favorite Pokemon on the team, though, is his no-attacking move, Poltergeist. Its ability Hospitality gives its partner Pokemon Soothing Matcha whenever it enters the field, healing up a lucky Porygon, Poniard, or Gligar. Poltergeist can then get to work supporting the team, setting Trick Room, redirecting into its Rocky Helmet with Rage Powder, healing even more health with Life Dew, or taking the opposite approach via its last move, Curse. If you're not familiar, this is the only move that changes what it does depending on the user's type. If you're anything other than a Ghost type, it boosts your physical stats at the cost of speed, but Ghosts pay a bigger price, half of their HP in exchange for a quarter of the opponent's max HP every turn until they switch out. And importantly, Curse goes through Protect. This is the baby version of the Pokemon that Joey used to make finals of a VGC Draft League against some of the best VGC players in the world, such as Aaron Zhang, Joe Ugarte, and James Beck. But now, he's facing down 2 minds at the same time, although he's planning on having a duo of his own.
But I only see one Eviolite on their team, and I'm feeling pretty confident about that.
Here's the basic gist of this matchup. Bill and Lou are going to try and lead Trick Room, while Joey's going to try to stop it or wait it out. And that's how the leads go. Bill Lou, get used to that name now because it's sticking, lead Duskull plus one of their fake out Pokemon, Scraggy, while Joey brings Porygon and Impidimp. Impidimp can slow things down with screens, and Porygon is theoretically threatening a trick onto the opposing Duskull. But there'll be no tricks on turn 1 unless they're of the roomy variety. Thanks to Scraggy's fake out, Porygon has to spend a turn computing while the players trade Reflect for Trick Room. Now on turn 2, Porygon's Scarf is turned against it, and with a fighting type on the other end, Joey's in danger. Or so it would seem, or maybe not, because Joey's got a fighting type of his own. Billa and Lou fire a Leer boosted close combat into Joey's Porygon, hoping that, without Eviolite, it'll go down.
Come on, Scraggy. Come on, Scraggy. Ah, not enough, Scraggy. But it tried. I also don't mind if Scraggy... I don't mind if something goes down here.
Yeah.
But thanks to the Reflect, Joey holds on with just a sliver of HP.
Yep, easily. Very easily.
Now, Joey fires off his own Fighting Terra Blast.
All right, let's see how much we do. Ooh, we knock out Scraggy in 1 hit. Okay, so we're looking very, very good because in the back, there's not really much that can deal with my Poniard, I would say.
Billa and Lou bring out Corphish to take advantage of Trick Room, and despite the twisted dimensions, Joey goes for Thunder Wave to try and stop the assault. Lou, on the other hand, has one thought on her mind.
Must KO the Impidimp.
Just Terra Crabhammer. I mean, when I played, all I did was just believe in Corphish.
Yeah.
What else do we need our Terra for? You just want damage now on the board.
Joey switches out Porygon to save it, while Impidimp absolutely explodes to Crabhammer.
Yes, Corphish. Yes! See? You believe in the Corphish and it comes through.
Now Joey has Poniard Poltergeist out against Corphish and Duskull, and 2 turns of Trick Room to survive. His Rage Powder keeps Poniard alive for a turn, and thanks to Bill and Lou going for Will-O-Wisp over Nightshade, Poltergeist holds on. 1 more turn of Trick Room left, but Billa knows just how to keep Corphish safe.
Ooh, okay. Oh, you clicking the sword stance button without consulting me first? Did you just do what I think you just did?
I did, yes.
Maybe no.
I think Sucker Punch is the strongest attack into us, so I don't want to attack there.
It may have been an impulsive Swords Dance, but it keeps Corphish safe from Sucker Punch while Poltergeist goes down to Nightshade. With Trick Room gone, Joey needs a full Paralysis to stay alive. He reads that Billa and Lou are going to protect Corphish and targets down the Duskull, hoping Paralysis can get him back in the game. The turn starts, and...
Yes, Corphish!
Let's go.
Corphish! He's such a good little fish. but he's not a fish.
Porygon goes down, Pawniard attacks into Corphish, and Will-O-Wisp burns Pawniard, effectively ending the game. Even before the game is over, Billa and Lou are thinking about Joey's plan for game 2.
If I was Joey now, I'd be thinking, how do I stop the Trick Room? Because that was really annoying for him. So how's he going to stop the Trick Room?
Joey, for his part, is in agreement.
Duskull's very difficult for me to punish.
These players are already thinking about game 2, though Lou takes a break to celebrate her best little buddy.
God, that's 2 crits in a game! No, Corphish! Corphish! Oh, he's so good.
It might be Corphish who put in the work, but Duskull is the biggest problem here, especially because of the last minute change that Joey made to his team.
Originally I had Taunt on my Impidimp, but we ended up changing it because we're like, nobody's gonna bring Fungus. But I mean, they have Mental Herb, so I guess it's a little different anyway. But even Misty Terrain was what I had initially on Impidimp too, with Swagger. And that would have been really nice because the only reason I can't use Pawniard early is because they have Wisp.
After a bit more deliberation, game 2 starts, and Joey leads off with the exact Riolu that Billa and Lou predicted, while they start with Duskull and Corphish. Joey's Porygon gets an important special attack raise.
You have to fear me hitting you, I think. CC is very strong. Like, you should fear it.
Joey's planning to exploit that fear. He starts off by switching in Poltergeist for Riolu and tricking the Duskull, locking it into its own Trick Room and effectively neutralizing it. But you know what else neutralizes Pokemon? Corphish.
Yes, Corphish! Corphish!
With Duskull tricked, Joey's plan is clear.
They got no CC switch-ins. So all we gotta do is Rage Powder and I think CC into Duskull.
Joey tanks a Crabhammer with Rage Powder, then reads the Duskull switch into Scraggy and gets a nice close combat off, though the switch does confuse him momentarily.
Cat. Oh yeah, I forgot. They were using quote-unquote Mono Cat. This is not Mono Cat, by the way. I would like to say this does not look Mono Cat-ish.
But in Trick Room, Billa and Lou have the wheel, and they've got one mentality.
The one thing I want with this team is like pedal to the metal kind of vibes.
They exploit the Rage Powder by setting up and claiming the KO with Knockoff. And even though Joey does take down Scraggy, he knows that he's cooked now.
Because they're gonna Aqua Jet me with Terra Water, right? I think we're taking this first one 0 and 2. I gotta try and fight back in the other ones because I'm not. This hard Trick Room is really difficult. Again, maybe the alternative was just knocking out Corphish. I really thought my mom would take on Corphish better.
Unfortunately for Joey, Corphish does now just run the show, prompting giddy celebration from its 2 biggest fans.
I love Corphish, yes! He's such a good boy.
Let's go.
0 and 2, not great. Not great. Yeah, I regret not having Misty Terrain on the Impidimp, but we're gonna come back. Good games to both of them. They win 2-0. I'll be back with the next part of the tournament.
With that, the matches from Group 1 are locked. Justin and Bilou are now 1-0, while Joey and Lorsy have taken a loss. Before we can see the next matches though, we have a whole other group to get to. The group that includes yours truly. You've heard a lot about the other players' teams, but what about mine? Any guesses? The other competitors certainly do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of all expect him to try to use Perish in some way, and I think there are definitely some strong like Perish Pokemon. I would love to see that from him.
So I definitely see Wolf bringing Gothita. I don't see him not doing it. He's gonna do it, guys. He's gonna bring it. So I believe all of us going into this are going to have ways to pivot out of Gothita's trap, right? Whether it be Volt Switch, whether it be U-turn, whether it be Parting Shot. We are getting out of there. Wolf, look at me. Stop. Cut it out. We're not doing it.
Don't worry, Lorsy. I am stopping. I am not bringing Perish Trap. I don't want people to think that I'm just a one-song pony here, okay? Plus, I've got something else in mind. And in fact, it's Justin who's closest to guessing my plan.
He's the type of guy that is going to want to use a Pokemon that like he just loves the design of, because in lower base stat formats, he's always looking for something that is cool. He's just been always good at building great teams around even weaker Pokemon, or just finding like a really good spot in the meta to use something that people are overlooking.
Justin's right, and that favorite is none other than one of the most memorable Pokemon in this channel's entire history. That's right, I'm going all in on Streptobeeb. For most of you, that's not going to mean anything. Here's the deal. 5 or so years ago, I was experimenting with my content. And at the time, I was streaming quite a bit, like every day for a couple hours. And I was streaming this much because I was playing this game called Pokemon Emerald Kaizo, which is at the time considered to be the most difficult ROM hack ever made. And I'm not a Nuzlocker. I don't have a lot of experience beating any kind of hardcore Nuzlocks. In fact, I've only beaten 2, which is Emerald and then, spoilers, Emerald Kaizo. Anyway, one of the things I would do is I would let my viewers nickname the Pokemon that I caught. And so when I ran into a Numel, I let my chat name it, and the name that they picked was Streptobeeb.
Streptobeeb?
the heck is Streptobeeb?
I think it's just a nonsense word that doesn't mean anything, but my chat really loves Streptobeeb, which is especially funny because it's not a good Pokemon generally, and it was not very good in Emerald Kaizo. Anyway, Streptobeeb became like kind of an icon on the channel, and even though I haven't mentioned it in a while, I realized that this was probably the only chance I was going to get to use Streptobeeb, maybe ever. And it's worth noting that it's not necessarily a good Pokemon in this format or any format, but it's usable in a way that it's not normally. The main problem with Streptobeeb is that like its stats are just so abysmal. Like its bulk is bad for the format, its attack is bad for the format, its special attack is bad for the format, and its speed is bad for the format. Every stat is bad. However, there is one redeeming quality that Numel has, because even though its stats start out pretty terrible, its ability could make them a bit scary if you get it set up. The ability that only Numel has and Camerupt evolution does not is Simple. Simple is an ability that doubles all of the stat changes that Numel receives. Now for Numel boosting itself, its best options are like Flame Charge or maybe Growth, but I'm not going to rely on Numel to set itself up. Instead, I'm going to count on the rest of the team to give it these important stat boosts, starting with Prankster coaching Riolu. After just one coaching, Numel jumps up to +2 attack and +2 defense. Add a Flame Charge in, and you've suddenly got an unstoppable camel hurtling towards you with the speed of, well, maybe like a slow bicycle. Even at +2 speed, it's still not very fast. Riolu isn't the only source of stat boost though. I've also got my own Cutiefly, who's going to provide support through Tailwind, Pollen Puff, and Aromatic Mist. What does Aromatic Mist do? You're probably asking. Well, why don't we ask some of the pros to inform you?
It is a nicely fragranced mist that goes out onto the field. And it does something that Barish is going to fill in the blanks for right now.
Okay, so I'm actually not going to spoil the secret yet. I will keep it for when we face, and then I will tell you exactly what it does. But for now, I'm with everyone else. I do not know what it does, actually.
Okay, so Aromatic Mist is a fairy type move that was introduced in generation, I don't know, where are we? Sword and Shield. I think this was from Sword and Shield. It boosts the allies' special defense by 1, I think. So then with Simple, you would get +2 special defense. I don't know if it has any more effects.
Here, I'll help. Okay, I'll give you a hand. Aromatic Mist gives your partner Pokemon +1 special defense, which for Numel is a whopping +2 special defense. I've got a way to boost every single one of its relevant stats, and a Cleric to boot, since Poltergeist helps keep Numel safe and heals it up. I'd like to say that Numel is the only focus of my team, but that's not entirely true. I've also got one other mode, Snow. Alolan Vulpix does count as Numel support, thanks to its ability to use Aurora Veil to make it even harder to remove, but Alolan Sandshrew is my only other real offensive threat on the team. This is another Pokemon with mediocre typing normally, but I actually think it's going to be good here. See, Ice types can exploit Gligar, and since most Porygon are going to be running Ice Beam for that same Gligar, I can resist both of its non-Terra attacks. So Sandshrew is a real threat, though if I'm being honest, I'm probably only going to bring it when Streptobeeb literally cannot work, which might be exactly what I'm facing down in my first round opponent.
Hey everyone, I'm Brendan. I'm best known as the 2013 Juniors Division World Champion.
Brendan is a really rough round 1 draw. He's a literal world champion, and he's also one of the smartest players that I know.
So I can't put a specific archetype on Brendan, but I know for sure one, definitely Pokemon that's gonna have everybody question like, oh, why would he use this? And then absolutely destroy everybody with it. So I'm gonna say that for Brendan.
Just looking at Brendan's team sheet, you can tell he knows what the biggest threats are, because he's using them, and he's dedicated to beating them too.
Definitely. I think Gligar specifically is something that I've made sure that my team can deal with. Same thing with Porygon. But overall, I think my team building philosophy for this tournament was just to build a well-rounded team that can kind of handle anything that comes at me, especially because I really don't have any idea of what other people might be interested in using.
Porygon, Choice Band Gligar, and Shuka Berry Litten form the backbone of his team. Then he has 3 totally unique picks: a Choice Spec Hisuian Voltorb, a Jupiter who can't be intimidated that's running Soak of all moves. That Soak can set up both his Voltorb and his Terra Electric Porygon. Finally, there's Cottony. Wait, Cottony? Sure, it's on my list of the best unevolved Pokemon, but that's with Tailwind. With no Tailwind, what does it even do? Turns out, everything. Brendan loves this Pokemon. He actually drafted Whimsicott in my last Invitational too, and there he also used it without Tailwind. This Cottony is Encore to stop setup or punish Fake Out and protect, Worry Seed to wake up Spored Pokemon, and both Charm and Fake Tears to lower opponent's stats. A Swiss Army set that makes me say, this is a joke, right? See, Simple might double my boosts, but it also doubles all of my stat drops. That means that with one Charm, Brendan can drop my Numel by 4 stages, or reduce my special defense to basically 0. And that's not the only problem. Simple is also affected by Intimidate and Parting Shot, meaning my greatest enemy is a familiar one in diminutive form, Litten. I was hoping people wouldn't be using Intimidate too much, but here, it kind of looks like I'm totally screwed. Poltergeist can't redirect Cottony's attacks, and I used to have Quick Guard on Riolu to block these types of prankster shenanigans, but I dropped it last minute for Substitute. Not my best idea. My only hope is that maybe Brendan won't realize what I'm doing.
I think my first instinct here is Cottony's probably pretty good because of it kind of completely shutting down Numel, I think.
Okay, I do have an anti-intimidate strategy with Sandshrew. Surely I should go with that, right? I should, but I won't, because this might be the only chance I get to let Streptobeeb shine, and I'm not putting him on the bench for the first battle of the tournament. So I lock in Numel and Friends and start game 1, where it's my Vulpix and Riolu versus Porygon and Litten. This is an awful lead for me. I have to read what Brendan's Litten's gonna do, or I'll probably lose on the spot. Well, he's probably not fake outing, right? I think I have to go to Numel here, unfortunately. Go Numel! I guess that Brendan's gonna click fake out, basically because I have to. My only chance in this game is to get Numel up now and start muscling through Trick Room. The turn starts, my Vulpix switches out, and weakness. Fake out, fake out, fake out. Oh, okay, we're in. Okay, it's not over. Let's go, Numel! Go Streptobeeb! Okay. We're not out of it yet. Okay. There's Trick Room. Okay, cool. Now I checked, and the minimum speed Litten is actually still faster than my Numel. So in that regard, I can go for high horsepower here and a second coaching, which is quite good. I blow the whistle for a second time, sending Numel up to +4 attack and defense, and Porygon gets some Terra Blast damage on Riolu. Now it's Numel's time to step up. Shuka's fine. There's no way it lives. Good job, Numel. Okay, cool. Litten goes down, meaning Intimidate and Parting Shot are done with, but the real enemy is yet to come. Shit, unfortunately. Oh no, it's Cottony. Okay, that's what I was afraid of. Okay, so Cottony is going to be able to drop my attack by a lot. I've got to keep Numel safe here. God, I wish I had Quick Guard. Brendan can undo all of my boosts with a single Charm, so I protect Numel, hoping that I can get something done with Riolu. Brendan doubles into my Protect, but it's Fake Tears plus Terra Blast, which makes a lot of sense. Why nerf Numel when you can just knock it out? Plus, this covered a switch as well. Luckily for me, I called the targeting right, and I'm rewarded by hitting Porygon with Close Combat, which does pretty much nothing. Plus, now I have a bigger problem. Encore can lock me into Protect. I have to get Streptobeeb out. I go into Poltergeist, healing up Riolu a bit and getting off a Substitute. Encore goes into Poltergeist, which fails, while Porygon's Terra Blast breaks my sub. Not great, but I am stalling Trick Room. I just gotta keep playing defensive. Now I switch out Riolu for Vulpix and terrestrialize my Poltergeist to Fire. Good thing I did, too. That Fake Tears plus Ice Beam would have destroyed me otherwise. Trick Room ends, but so does Snow, and that's a problem. This turn is important. Brendan's gonna Trick Room, so I need to exploit the fact that Porygon won't attack, and I have only one goal. I need this thing gone! Go away! Go away, I hate this stupid Cottony. Luckily for me, Brendan's last Pokemon can only be Hisuian Voltorb, Gligar, or Jupiter, and there's one move that I have that hits every Pokemon there for super effective damage. Freeze Dry. Hold on. This doesn't even kill though, but at least it does damage. Maybe I'll freeze it. Did it a lot, but not enough. I have a Pokemon lead and I've done some good damage, but Trick Room just went up. The turn starts and it's time to say goodbye to Riolu. Okay. So I'm losing Riolu, which isn't great, but I do have a lead here, which is awesome. I might have a Pokemon lead, but I just don't have enough resources left. Brendan has very smartly preserved his Terra, meaning that with Terra Fire, his Cottony is safe to spam Fake Tears, and I simply don't have enough damage to take out Porygon. Brendan Fake Tears and Terra Blast Streptobeeb out of existence, and this game is pretty much over. I still have one more chance, and it all comes down to Vulpix. Okay, double Blizzard Freeze and I can win this. All I need is a double. Actually, I probably only need a Blizzard Freeze on Porygon, and I'm back in it. Okay, freeze the Porygon. Damn. Yeah, that's just gonna be game. One turn Trick Room still left. With no freeze, this game is over, and I'm in trouble. I've got pretty much no way to make Streptobeep work here, and I don't have good ways to deal with Porygon or the other demon, the Cottony. The Cottony is such a huge problem. I hate Cottony now. So I'm gonna switch it up. Game 2 starts with the same leads, but it only looks the same to Brendan. I'm going on the offense immediately. I close combat Porygon and set up Aurora Veil, while Brendan parting shots my Vulpix, brings in Jupiter, and sets up Trick Room. Riolu hasn't done that much damage, but it has a different job here. On this turn, I switch out Vulpix and coaching into that slot, but it's not Numel who comes in, it's Sandshrew. Porygon recovers and Jupiter attacks my Riolu. Wrong target, that's bad. Oh, I thought I was gonna survive. I really thought I was gonna survive. Shoot. Man, that's a lot of damage, but I've got the solution. However, my Sandshrew is also goated now. I go into this thing for sure. The problem is that Sandshrew, even at +1, doesn't do that much to Porygon because I dropped knockoff at the last second. Brendan makes a really smart play on the next turn. He soaks my Sandshrew, which removes the damage boost it gets from being a steel and ice type. With parting shot on Vulpix and no same type bonus on Sandshrew, I do barely any damage on this turn. Nothing. How is this mon legal? But that's okay, because Porygon also did barely any damage thanks to the Aurora Veil I set up on the first turn. Now Brendan could go for Terra Electric, Terra Blast here, but I don't think that he will, so I protect Vulpix and attack. I successfully negate both of Brendan's attacks, and in the way. Oh, there's so much freeze. What? I'm running all these ice moves for no reason. I may not have gotten a freeze, but the snow has done its job. It lines up exactly with the Trick Room turns, and it slowed things down. On this turn, Brendan needs to get something done. Brendan's Terra comes out, but it's not the only one. Sandshrew takes the Terra Blast and tanks it. Unfortunately for Vulpix, Jupiter cannot be stopped. He max rolled me! Wait, wasn't that? Huh? Okay, it's fine. I might still be able to win. But I finally take out Porygon just as Trick Room ends. Now I can bring out Poltergeist to heal up Sandshrew while Brendan brings out his Litten. He's baiting me to attack the Jupiter slot, but I'm not going for Jupiter. While Jupiter switches, I Rage Powder, eating the Will-O-Wisp and landing a big Rock Tomb on the Protect-less Litten. And now Brendan's on the ropes. Brendan does his best to stop Sandshrew, but he can't attack before with his Litten. Rock Tomb lands, and now I can just run through the rest of his team. Got a ball game. We're going to game 3. I actually can't believe I won, but it actually makes sense because while Cottony is incredible against Numel, it's actually quite bad against Sandshrew, as it turns out. Okay, cool. GG. Going to game 3, baby. We got a ball game. Going into game 3, the problem is it's still a guessing game on turn 1. Moreover, I can't lead Sandshrew. I need to stick with Vulpix Riolu because a Sandshrew lead would give Brendan the special attack boost that his Porygon really wants. I'm gonna go for the same strategy, and however Brendan adapts, I'll just have to adapt back. For now though, it's the same leads going into turn 1, but Brendan has a new goal. Brendan knows Aurora Veil won me the game, but so do I. So as soon as the turn starts, I terrestrialize my Vulpix to Ghost type, dodging Fake Out to get up Aurora Veil, while Riolu and Porygon go for the same close combat for Trick Room trade that we've been playing. But Brendan's fine with this turn. Now Brendan has a free double up into my drop defenses Riolu, and my job, as always, is to somehow stall Trick Room. I use Substitute on Riolu, eating the Terra Blast. But there's an overheat coming my way. Now usually you would expect Riolu after a close combat to go down to this attack, but there's a reason that my Riolu close combats have not been doing any damage. It's because I've trained Riolu almost entirely in its bulk. Riolu lives the overheat and Vulpix gets some important Blizzard chip down. On the next turn, I'm predicting a parting shot and recover, so I'm going on the offensive. But Brendan thinks Sandshrew may come in, so he overheats again, dropping his Litten stats even lower while I get my damage off. Now look, I know that damage doesn't look like much, but this game state is good for me. Every turn has a chance to freeze or crit, and getting either will probably win me the game. I'm perfectly content to keep clicking Blizzard, which is why I'm bringing Poltergeist in to heal Vulpix up. This turn, Brendan does Parting Shot to lower my damage as well as recover, but I'm not playing for damage. Again, a freeze wins the game. No freeze yet. With Jupiter on the field though, Brendan's looking to make this last turn of Trick Room count. It's time for the trick up his sleeves. Yeah, that's a smart play. Oh, I could have sacked Riolu, but there was just like, he also could have doubled the Vulpix with this attack. Okay, come on, Sinistra, or Poltergeist? What's your name? Sinistra? I forget. Poltergeist? You survived this. Trust. Super effective, but Aurora Veil. Oh my god, I didn't realize. Crit! Oh, what game am I playing? Can I get a freeze or a crit or something? Please? Nothing. playing no damage simulator. Unfortunately for Brendan, my Sinistra is a beast behind Aurora Veil. Unfortunately for me, I'm also doing no damage, and I'm not getting any freezes. I go for Freeze Dry Life Dew while Porygon recovers yet again, and Brendan's Lit and Switch tanks the attack. And now I'm the one in trouble. I'm gonna run out of Aurora Veil turns. Got to reset Snow, and Brendan wants to reset Trick Room. We will both take whatever damage we can get on the side. I switch to Riolu and Life Dew while Brendan attacks, but he's forgotten one thing.
Ah, I soaked it. I totally forgot.
The overheat. Oh, but I'm a water type. Brendan brought out Poltergeist's liquid properties, so it tanks overheat and heals up, leading to yet another turn where neither of us have made any progress. This is certainly the longest battle in this format that I've ever played, and maybe one of the longest ones that's ever been played, period. But in order to win, I still need to survive for 4 more turns in Trick Room. This time, I don't think that Brendan is going to read my Sandshrew coming in, so I switch it in and give it a coaching while Brendan Parting Shot and Terra Blast my Riolu, who's still holding on thanks to the Life Dew. Jupiter comes out and hang on, I just noticed something. And they haven't even revealed, he hasn't even revealed his last mon. Are we gonna go to timer in Little Cup? Because that would be insane. For now, I don't have time to think about it. Brendan's threatening a Soak Terra Blast again, and my Aurora Veil just went down. I protect against Liquidation, while Poltergeist comes out and takes an Ice Beam, which does a lot of damage, but I am finally in position to attack again. I Rage Powder, and Jupiter proves how strong it is, but Poltergeist holds on just long enough, tanking the Porygon attack and letting Sandshrew take out Jupiter. Brendan brings out Litten again, while I bring out Vulpix. Protect is super obvious here, and we both know it. And if Brendan has Cottony in the back, I could be signing away one of my Pokemon, but I have no choice. I lock in Double Protect, and Brendan doesn't switch. He doubles Vulpix with Parting Shot and Terra Blast. Now I can finally get my Aurora Veil back up. I click the button and Rock Tomb Litten, who switches into Cottony, but there's another battle effect I have to deal with. I don't deserve this. The good news, I finally know Brendan's last Pokemon. The bad news, it's Cottony. I think Brendan's not gonna give it up, so I Ice Punch into Porygon, but Brendan leaves Cottony open, launching Fake Tears and Terra Blast into my Vulpix's Protect, and now I can get Encored. Okay, here's the plan. I Blizzard, and I accept that I'm dying, and I Ice Punch. Brendan goes for Encore and Recover, locking my Vulpix into Protect, while I get an Ice Punch off. Wait, it does nothing. Wait, I thought it did 1,000,000 damage. It does nothing. But how am I ever going to kill this Porygon? Wait, I see a solution. Maybe I don't have to get rid of this Porygon. This turn, I'm not attacking that slot. I'm going to attack the slot that Brendan has been leaving open. The turn starts, and to my dismay, Brendan switches. No! Oh, man. I go to Litten. Okay. Man, I should have Rock Tombed. My own Riolu comes out, and Sandshrew tanks a Terra Blast. Ice Punch goes off, and it does infinite damage. That's with the Aurora Veil up. Oh, I never kill this thing. Oh, wait, I'm back. But how do I win? With one Pokemon down for Brendan, I can finally put my plan together. One that doesn't require me to beat Porygon. 3 minutes left. Can I win on timer? Okay, here's the new plan, chat. I'm gonna win on timer. In just 1 minute, this game is going to end no matter what. And if I have more HP on my Pokemon than Brendan does, I'll win. 1 minute is 2 turns. So if I can just survive for 2 turns, this game is mine. And Brendan knows it.
This game might go down to time. That's so unfortunate. Okay, well.
I click Bullet Punch with Riolu, which I know will do no damage. That's fine. Sandshrew is protecting. Brendan can only attack 1 Pokemon per turn. Riolu will go down, and then next turn, I can Blizzard and win the game thanks to Aurora Veil. But instead, Brendan recovers, punishing my play. Now, the onus is on me. With so much HP left on his Pokemon, Brendan will win if he takes 1 more KO. I think he's gonna Encore, so I keep my low HP Riolu in and switch to Vulpix, as Brendan goes for Encore. I can win this now. If I either keep both my Pokemon alive, or if I take 1 KO, it's over. I'm looking for the play, something that guaranteed wins me the game. I think I see it, and oh, I ran into time. I lost. That, I didn't even realize. Oh no, I didn't keep an eye on my timer. Oh no. Oh no. I ran out of your time. But the battle timer has also ended. I have no idea what's gonna happen now. The turn starts and Brendan attacks into my Protect. I'm gonna get out of this with more Pokemon alive, but wait, what happened? Oh, wait, what happens? I'm out of your time, but we're out of battle timer too. What happens? I've never had this happen before. No, I won, but I lost. Because I made the the right call, but I ran out of time. Wow, that's crazy. 3-2 loss. Insane. Oh my God. I have recorded my first ever 3-2 loss in a game. The first time I think I've ever lost on your time. This is such a wonky scenario that when I go to report the match, Brendan doesn't even realize that he won. He didn't realize that I was out of your time, and so when the timer hit 0 and the game said that it was over, he just assumed that he was the one who lost.
Good games.
I can say that without a doubt. I have never played a game of Pokemon even remotely similar to that one. And I certainly didn't expect that a battle with Pokemon with defenses this low to somehow turn into the Cold War. But we're not done with round 1 yet.
I am Marcus Hamann. I am a Pokemon player and competitor, and also sometimes commentator. And yeah, I just like Pokemon.
Marcus is one of the fiercest competitors here, a multiple-time regional and international champion, and the reigning Wolf Invitational champion thanks to his clever team building in the auction tournament.
He's like one of those players that when you play against him, he brings the best out of you, no matter what. You always got to bring it against Marcus, otherwise he will absolutely dunk on you. He's just extremely smart. He knows a lot. In the past, like when he hasn't had time to prepare for tournaments, I feel like in some cases, his biggest weakness has always been playing against people that are just far worse than him because he sees the game at such like a high level.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus is, I think he's also put a decent amount of prep into this tournament from what I've seen. So I feel like because this tournament is so theory heavy, people who obviously spend a little bit more time on their teams and just thinking about format probably are at an advantage. But Marcus especially is someone like whenever you talk to him about any format, especially early format, like Marcus is so good at kind of figuring out what is good and taking advantage of that. So yeah, very scared to play Marcus as well.
In this case, that's very true. Marcus has a murderer's row of the strongest Pokemon in the tournament. There's Porygon, Gligar, Fungus, Alolan Vulpix, and Elekid. But to top it all off, he's got one Pokemon that none of us expected. Well, not from him at least.
Yeah, Gothita was like one of the last additions to my team. I thought it was like quite funny how with Trick and Choice Scarf, you can like lock down certain support Pokemon. And because Eviolite is like such a contested item, like if you can trap something in and you can like trick them and trick away the Eviolite, like that could be a huge deal.
That's right, Marcus is the player who brought Gothita, not me. He's using it in a similar way as Joey's Porygon, tricking Choice Scarf to remove Eviolites. After that, it's a powerful support Pokemon with respectable damage. There's a reason that Marcus is such a solid team. He's on his own brand of prep.
And I found this abundant Discord server that had a lot of people in there who were playing like a very, very similar format. Like they weren't applying like VGC rules. They were playing 6v6 doubles, but they were playing on level 50. And yeah, it was coincidental, but I just like reached out to some of the people on the server just to see if they're at all interested in talking to me about what this format could be like. And I actually got like some really, really nice responses. And one player in particular, he was like really open to help me prepare. Like we played practice matches, and he's from a region in the world where I haven't ever met anyone from. So yeah, maybe I made a new friend from a place that I didn't expect. And yeah, it's been fun just talking to them for the past couple of days, trying to come up with some new ideas, and huge shout out to them. Let's see how it goes in the tournament for me, but that was definitely like a big asset.
Just like Billa and Lou, he's ready for Gligar, but he's also bringing his own because Marcus does his research. His opponent though is one of the best research players to ever touch the game. After all, he is a doctor.
Very analytical when it comes to the game, guys. Very analytical. He takes prep very seriously. So for this tour, he's probably the #1 person that you should be scared of because he's going in it to win it, and I know that.
If there's anyone who's explored the ins and outs of this format, it's gotta be Dr. Aaron Trailer.
So my thoughts on the format so far after testing are actually that I have not done any testing.
Wait, what?
So my prep for this Little Cup tournament has looked a little bit different than other Pokemon tournament preparations in the past, because this time I've tried to write a program to generate me a team from scratch without me playing a single game of the format. The issue is it's still running, and it's the Saturday night before the tournament, and the tournament is in about 12 hours. So I am going to go to bed and wake up and see what it spit out, and then go and catch those Pokemon before the tournament starts.
If you don't know, Aaron's doctorate is in computer science and cognitive science. So if there's anyone who can make a program work here, it's Aaron. It's one of his most beloved pet projects, and he figured that a totally new format is the perfect place to test it.
Here's how my program works. I don't know what a great team in this format is, but I do know a lot about what a good team has. It probably has moves like Tailwind or Trick Room or Rage Powder. It probably has Pokemon with good types that complement each other. And it probably has thus the best items in the game. And so what I did was I made a program that's essentially infinite Mankeys on infinite typewriters. And so it comes up with a moveset and item for each Pokemon, and then it tests them all against each other with damage calcs. And so then the best one of those will like move on, and then it keeps doing that, iterating against the top Pokemon so far, and then it puts them together. And so it'll make a team by saying like, oh, okay, let's have an even physical special split. And so it really is just it's semi-random, but at the end, hopefully it converges to something that's really strong.
This, of course, comes with significant drawbacks. For one, Aaron's got the least familiarity with the Pokemon out of anyone.
It's actually kind of interesting because I don't know what each Pokemon in the format does. I'm kind of waiting to be handed a team by the program. And I implemented a lot of battle functionality into it, but not everything. So I'm nervous that there's something that I missed, like a Rage Powder plus setup, or a Pokemon with really, really strong priority attacks like Corphish. And so, I don't know, it's kind of the fear of the unknown for me.
But hey, maybe this program will discover what's actually broken in this format, right? It's Marcus versus Aaron. It's accepted wisdom versus the alternative research. And from the player's reaction to Aaron's team sheet, you can tell Aaron came up with some tech that Marcus was not expecting.
Wow. Wait, Gligar with Sandveil? Is that on purpose? I think you should be running Hypercutter.
I'm looking at the Impidimp and it has Nasty Plot, Sucker Punch, and Foul Play. Wait, is there a Psych Up that I'm missing? No. Wait, what is he Nasty Plotting for? Do you see that?
So he clicks Nasty Plot, and then what can steal the boost?
Nothing.
Because
Nothing. Okay, yeah, I am.
Pickpocket only steals the item.
Prankster Nasty Plot, but then he doesn't actually have any special attacks, right? Wait, what is he doing with that? Wait, where's the Impidimp boosting? Does he have like a way to swap boosts? I don't see it. I don't understand.
It seemed like he was cooking and then he
Cooked too hard and spoiled the stew.
Yeah, maybe he was busy with work and then like let it burn. I'm not sure.
It's time. Look and behold what Aaron's supercomputer hath wrought. Behold the future of humanity, of artificial intelligence. We have Sandveil Gligar with no sand on the team or in the tournament. We have Choice Scarf Tinkatink with Feint and Fake Out. And yes, we have Nasty Plot Impidimp with no special attacks. Okay, so maybe the program could use some bug fixes. But Aaron Traylor's a scientist, and that means that he's not editing anything. Besides that, he's a multiple-time regional winner and one of the most resourceful players that I know. So even if some of his Pokemon might be unorthodox, he can leverage Pokemon like his Litten, Gligar, and Life Orb Poltergeist with only one attacking move.
Here's the deal. I don't know how any of these Pokemon work.
Hey, he'll try his best. Aaron leads off with Tinkatink Litten into Marcus's Vulpix and Porygon, and the unfamiliarity immediately kicks in.
It's Fairy Steel? Oh, that's great right here.
What type is Tinkatink? Okay, Fairy Steel.
Aaron's got double Fake Out active here, even if one of them is on a Choice Scarf Pokemon. So, Aaron Fake Outs Vulpix with Litten and launches a Play Rough into Porygon.
Any damage?
Marcus Terra blasts back, and
that does so much damage. What are we doing here?
Okay, he has AV, but that still does so much damage.
Now Aaron thinks that he's got a chance to stop Aurora Veil from going up, and he's gonna take it.
Let's see. I'm okay trading Litten here.
He double targets the Vulpix. Flare Blitz does a lot of damage, and then Aaron is struck by a terrible realization. It's Vulpix who moves next.
Oh no, it's not fast enough. It's slow Scarlet. Oh god. It's not good enough.
Wait, this is Choice Scarf. Am I missing something? Wait, how slow? How slow is this thing?
This Scarf Tinkatink is slower than Vulpix. So Litten has gone down and Vulpix still got Aurora Veil off.
Here's the thing about that. I wish I had my Incineroar.
If there is an upside for Aaron, it's that Marcus has gotten thoroughly juked. He just set up Trick Room because he thought this Tinkatink was fast.
I was like, maybe there's something wrong with the Tinkatink. because of how slow it is.
Well, you say wrong, I say science. Aaron's programs even chose the EV spreads, and as a man who respects the scientific method, he didn't change them.
Here's the thing. He doesn't know what my EV spread is, and it's max special defense.
Marcus brings out Fungus, while Aaron brings out Poltergeist. But with Tinkatink locked into play rough, there's nothing he can do against Spore, and Poltergeist is forced to protect against the Ice Beam coming its way.
Don't know if this team's very good.
With Tinkatink asleep and locked into play rough, Marcus can Spore that slot freely and Ice Beam the other. And if Gligar switches in, no matter which slot it comes in for, it's screwed. Instead, Aaron lets Poltergeist go down to a crit, while Marcus is still left pondering the mysteries of the team that he's facing.
Why is this Tinkatink so slow? I still don't understand.
Meanwhile, Aaron is counting his meager blessings.
God, I'm so happy I rolled Eviolite.
Both players terrestrialize on this turn, Aaron to steal Gligar and Marcus to ghost Porygon. But with no protect on Gligar, Marcus is free to launch another Spore, while Porygon does huge damage into Tinkatink, who stays asleep.
That's fine. Tinkaton wasn't doing anything anyway. God, this must be what people feel like when they play VGC for the first time and lose all of their Pokemon to like Urshifu or something.
Marcus, on the other hand, is totally chilling.
Okay, yeah, that went pretty much exactly how I was hoping things would go. Like, we get up Aurora Veil, we get up Trick Room, we put everything to sleep, nothing ever wakes up, and then Porygon with a special attack boost.
This format is already throwing off all of our internal calculators. Meanwhile, Aaron's coming at this upside down and backwards.
It's very disorienting. It's very disorienting to be like, wow, I don't know what any of my Pokemon do, and also in the back of my mind, just know that this is the turn that Trick Room goes down, and that it is. I don't like that at all.
Now it's time for game 2, and Aaron struck by decision paralysis.
Any of my Pokemon can come here, but I think that's less of like, they're all good here, and more like, I don't know what I'm doing, and also they don't know what they're doing.
He's looking at Toad School, and he offers us a bit of insight into just how things turned out this way.
The issue with Toad School is that I bumped up the reward for having utility moves to these 4 moves specifically. And it has all of them.
While Marcus is planning out his turns in detail, Aaron has to spend his prep time literally checking the speed stats on his Pokemon because he doesn't know which is faster. Once he's done with that, he has a plan.
If this works, which it won't work. But if it works, that would be sweet.
Marcus leads with Vulpix and Porygon again, while Aaron goes with Toad School and Litten. And while Aaron might not be very confident in his own plan, he's very confident in Marcus's.
If I were him, I would just say, I don't have to do anything. It's like 10 o'clock p.m. Germany time. Like, I'm just going to run it back with the Pokemon that he just could not beat.
Aaron Terra steals his Toad School and goes for Spore and Fake Out, which Marcus protects against perfectly via Protect and a Fungus switch. But for Aaron, this is the best position he's seen all set.
I think Toad School is going to run away with this game.
See, from Aaron's perspective, he can choose what he wants to do here. Taunt into Fungus is free, and then he can start sporing. So Aaron locks in Flare Blitz into Vulpix and Taunt into Fungus. Flare Blitz comes out, and...
Offensive, because it didn't KO us in game 1. Oh. 1 HP.
If I had any attack investment, that would have saved the game. But I don't, so it didn't.
Vulpix sets up Aurora Veil, and the next to go is Fungus?
I taunted it, right? My Celium Mate makes all... Oh my god. My Celium Mate makes all moves slower. So I have minus priority taunt. No! No! Oh my god.
That's right, Mycelium Might makes all status moves go at a slower priority. And I've used Toad Scroll, so you know, I knew this, but Aaron has been relying on the machine. And so now he's in a terrible spot. Litten's U-turn goes into Vulpix Protect, while Fungus spores Litten. But Aaron is still looking on the bright side.
If Toad Scroll wakes up, we are gonna basically be in like a sleep off, and that's not a bad place to be considering that I wasn't really anywhere beforehand.
Now Marcus has a very safe play.
I guess that would be okay though. Yeah, I think I just want to go for like a Blizzard and Pollen Puff. So then U-turn doesn't KO me anymore. And then if he wants to KO me, he has to do it with Flare Blitz, and then he takes like extra recoil.
He doesn't want to switch Vulpix out in case Toad School wakes up. But with that little damage, Aaron thinks he's forced to. Unfortunately, Vulpix protects, as both Litten and Fungus wake up and target that slot, and Litten goes back to sleep.
Nice. Dude, I'm playing so well with like Vulpix and Fungus.
Now, Aaron is sure that Vulpix is going to switch. And sure enough, Marcus does.
Good news is I know what he's doing. The bad news is it's like I have 2 left feet.
Gligar comes in for Vulpix and Litten comes in for Toadschool to tank the Spore. But Marcus is still in absolute control. Aaron has 1 out. Here's his explanation.
Okay, so chat, here's what's going on. I need to keep Litten alive really badly, at the cost of like everything else on my team probably. And so I think he's gonna try and take it out. And so this is like sending Gligar to hell, but that's okay maybe.
In fact, it's 2 Pokemon that go to hell. Poltergeist gets blown up by Dual Wing Beat, while Fungus keeps spreading spores. Now Aaron's entire team is incapacitated except for 1 very special Pokemon.
Oh, I can't believe my Selenite taunt goes last. That blows. That's such a bummer.
This game is over. He considers forfeiting, but he's gonna stay in it for now. After all, maybe Tailwind can set up one of his other Pokemon, like, Mycelium Might Toadschool.
We just have to Spore and Dual Wing Beat. It's so easy. It's so easy to wake up, Spore, double crit the Dual Wing Beat. No, that's not easy. Don't do that. That's not easy. But here we're going to get some damage down, and that's really important because Gligar will wake up. And here's the thing. We're gonna wake up and we're gonna hit Dual Wing Beat, and it's not going to do very much damage. And that's so okay. And it will Spore me again, but that's okay. That's so okay. Yeah, let's end this charade. Marcus, I'm ending this charade once and for all.
Aaron forfeits, which means Marcus has overcome a mighty foe. Well, okay, Aaron Trailer is mighty, but the team, I'm not so sure. Aaron's team might be, in his own words, pretty bad. But also to be fair, Marcus got pretty much every single turn right. He's correct that he's playing well, and that moves him into the winner's circle along with Brendan, Justin, and the team of Billa plus Lou. But there's still 2 more rounds to be played in both groups. And first up, it's the battle of the Corphish. Lorsy versus Billa and Lou. Lorsy famously said, 2 minds are better than 1, but he's also got a beat on this duo. Before even seeing the team sheets, he called out that they would go with hard Trick Room offense. His reasoning?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna lean more towards more HO. The quicker the turns, the better, less thinking. And if they're both working together, the less they have to think, the better they could work together. So I'm gonna go and pick HO for Billa and Lou.
But Billa and Lou are worried about Lorsy for a much more concerning reason.
I'm just worried about the Litten because I honestly think if Litten takes us down, I'm going to feel like it's one of those catch-22s. I'm going to feel really mad that that we lost, but also like Litten was the key. Litten was the secret. You can't be mad if Litten takes you down.
In terms of matchup, it's hard offense versus balance. If Lorsy can leverage his double redirection well and mitigate damage, he'll likely win. Billa and Lou need to flex the power of Glimmet and Corphish to make sure that doesn't happen, which is why Billoo lead with Glimmet and Grookey right off the bat, into Lorsy's Fungus and Litten. The 2 trade fakeouts into the attacking slots. Now this feels like the competitive Pokemon that I'm used to. It's turn 2 and the game is wide open.
Surely they're going to go for redirection to protect the Litten from a Meteor Beam.
But we have Terra Grass Glimmet, so let's go Terra Grass Glimmet.
Are we committing to that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a call. I'm making a call. I'm gonna aggressive call.
Billoo switches their Grookey out into Corphish, and Lorsy leans into the screen because he's watching for one specific animation. When Glimmet terrestrializes, he knows he's hit the mark.
Oh, let's go! Let's go, baby! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
Oh! That's why Litten's the best. That's why Litten is pretty good. Okay. I see you, Litten, and I applaud it. You're a good cat.
And the Spore as well.
You heard it from Brendan. Lorsy is the type of player to make huge reads, and right now, he's turned the cat couple's feline affection against them. Glimmet goes down, while Porygon eats Spore. On the next turn, Lorsy positions an Elekid to threaten Corphish, but the cat isn't done yet.
This Litten is walking all over us.
It's okay. I saw it's danced. So, yeah.
The Swords Dance negates the burn, but it's still not the type of turn you want to see as Lou and Billa. Lorsy wants to keep the momentum up. He parting shots and knockoffs the Porygon, bringing in Fungus. But Billa and Lou have ignored that slot entirely, and Crabhammer KOs the Elekid even through the burn. That's the power of adaptability Splash Plate Corphish.
I'm playing aggressive, but I think I need to start stepping up my game right now.
Lorsy takes advantage of Porygon's 3-turn sleep to get up a Swords Dance of his own, while Fungus tanks a Crab Hammer and sends a Pollen Puff Porygon's way, covering a Grookey switch. But now, Porygon is guaranteed to wake up, and Lorsy protects against the Ice Beam and then takes Porygon out, while Biloo gets another Swords Dance off while Grookey comes out. Lorsy's got to stop this Corphish before Fungus goes down, and he's got the perfect sacrifice ready.
I can't watch. I can't watch the Litten go down.
Close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't watch. It's alright, Rivendell. Tell me when it's over.
Maybe we miss. I hope we don't miss.
I hope we don't miss. Is it done? Is it done? Okay.
Wait,
Oh, with a crit because the Corphish is so good.
I wanted to show you the crit.
At this point, Terrafire on Corphish plus Rage Powder basically seals up the game. Billa and Lou cannot break Fungus before Lorsy's Corphish takes out their Pokemon. Lorsy focuses down Corphish, and Grookey can't pull it back against 2 grass resistances.
That is damage. That is damage I like. I love it, actually. Corphish, I did not know you were like that. Corphish is broken. I like it.
On that, everyone in this battle can agree. Lorsy wins game 1 off the back of a huge read. But the thing about huge reads is that they're often not so easy to replicate, and Lorsy knows that he's got to bring a different look.
Porygon is annoying. I'm glad I caught it on the Switch and was able to spore it, but I don't think Billa and Lou are going to give me that again. So let's do it.
Billa and Lou start out with the same lead, but Lorsy has switched out Fungus for Litten. Now, there's a big mix-up going on here.
He's not going to be afraid to do damage to the Glimmet. And if I were you, I would fake out the Litten because we know we're faster. What did you do?
Fake out the Litten.
Okay, good.
And because you could technically knock off what I said earlier, I went for a Power Gem, and I think against Litten it should KO anyway.
Lorsy eats the Grookey fake out on Litten and knocks off the Power Herb, but Glimmet went for Power Gem, attacking immediately and KOing Litten.
Bye, Litten. Oh, it's so cute though, like, oh.
Lorsy brings out Fungus now, and the threat of Spore is on the table, but Terra Grass could get punished again by a Lorsy Sludge Bomb read. Billa debates the turn until there's no time left.
But Elekid can protect, so let's
Just go, just click buttons. Just go, do not time out. You got this. No, if you want to knock off something, knock it, click it.
Elekid and Grookey trade knockoffs, while Glimmet ends Elekid with a Sludge Bomb before being put to sleep. Lorsy's forced to bring in Corphish, and with only 2 Pokemon left, he needs to make some moves fast. He has to Terrestrialize to Fire to stay safe from Grookey, but Billa and Lou punish it expertly by knocking off Fungus's Citrus Berry and switching in Porygon, while Corphish gets up a Swords Dance and Spore goes into the Grookey. What's crucial here is that the duo brought in Porygon later to guarantee a special attack boost, and now Porygon is a massive threat. The big mix-up here is whether Fungus is going to protect. Such a mix-up, in fact, that it keeps Billa and Lou considering their turn till the very end once again.
Switch in Corphish. Or Glimmet. I don't know, switch and something. You're running out of time, Just do something. I don't know what, but just do something. We can't time out.
Okay, that's actually...
But as soon as the turn starts, they know they've made the right decision.
Yes!
We went for the Corphish.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
They double attack the Corphish, taking out Lorsy's only offensive threat and locking up the game. This time, it was Billa and Lou who got all the reads correct, and the game went completely the other way. As Lorsy, it's a hard moment. Do you trust that you'll outplay, or do you try and find another path forward? He spends most of his deliberation time with the same lead locked in, until, with 15 seconds left, he switches.
Is this correct, Josh? I don't know, let's see.
It's the same Grookey and Glimmet lead for Biloo, but Lorsy has activated Cutie-Fly mode. Now, Cutie-Fly is a big threat, but it does not do good damage into Glimmet, and it's actually weak to both of its types. Lou and Billa fake out into Elekid while Cutie-Fly protects, but Billa and Lou have a different target, and for the first time this set, they get to watch Meteor Beam's animation.
Stresses me out. Okay, yay. Yay, go Glimmet. You're more than just a cat toy.
Oh, he got me.
But now it's time for the bane of the couple's existence, Fungus. Once again, the mere presence of the mushroom sends them into a tizzy.
I guess you have to sludge it. That is not a sludge.
This time they pay the price. Bug Buzz one-shots Grookey while Spore goes into Protect. Now it's time for Porygon, the biggest threat to Fungus that Billa and Lou have. They know that if left unchecked, its spores will end this match, but if Cutie-Fly gets a Quiver Dance up, it could do the same. So they split their damage, and the turn starts.
What could this be?
This us.
This is us. Okay.
Which means they didn't Terra the cutie fly.
Okay.
Which means...
Okay. Come on, Porygon. Come through for us. Come through. You can do it. I believe in you.
Oh no. They Terra the fungus.
But that's okay. Terra flying into water is okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay.
Question is... we should have doubled that. Yeah.
Oh my god, that does nothing.
So what are they realistically doing with the... They can't really touch the Glimmet. That's the other good thing.
With Glimmet asleep and Fungus still healthy, Lorsy finally has the purchase to start setting up Cutiefly. The only problem is the Terraflying Porygon on the other side of the field. If it KOs Cutiefly, Billa and Lou will likely win. If it doesn't, it's taking a long nap. Cutiefly Quiver Dances, Glimmet sleeps, and Porygon Terra Blasts into the bug, who just barely holds on. Now Lorsy's got both Pokemon asleep and a +1 Cutiefly. He takes advantage of the sleep to switch out Fungus for recovery and bring in Corphish, then launches a Dazzling Gleam into both Pokemon, which does decent chip. Porygon might be safe here, but Glimmet is hard pinned. Aqua Jet plus Dazzling Gleam will KO it or do massive damage to the Corphish switch. The turn starts, and Glimmet stays in.
Okay, good stuff, Corphish. Good stuff, Corphish. Good Pokemon. What do you think?
Not necessarily. Because...
I just think we...
If Porygon wakes up...
Porygon's not waking up. Didn't wake up all of game 1. It's not waking up game 3 either.
But it isn't over for Billa and Lou.
We have a very clear Aqua Jet into
Cutiefly, but then they also have a very clear switch back into Fungus.
Scared of Protect or a switch, they lock in Crabhammer, and Lorsy stays in, getting huge damage off with Cutiefly before it goes down, while his Corphish Swords Dances.
We got Fungus. It's always annoying to lose the Fungus.
Yeah.
With a full health Fungus in the back, Lorsy just needs to land a Crabhammer.
Don't miss. Let's go.
And with that, the game is over.
Oh, that was good.
At least Billa and Lou can't be too mad.
Good job,
Well played,
Lorsy.
Lorsy. No, really well played. It's difficult to bring it down, and obviously we lost against Litten and Corphish, so 2 of our favorites.
I know.
So that's all good.
I'm going to tell Lorsy now he had the best strategy.
Meanwhile, over on the other side of Group 1, Justin is facing down Joey, a match with a lot of history behind it.
Okay, so super deep lore with Joey. I have an old YouTube channel that I started like way before the one that I have now, and like is hidden in the archives, like goodbye. I was like 17 or 18 and I was a kid. I had like a little $30 blue snowball, and I made this like showdown analysis video. I mean, I was just talking through things. I post this video, and Joey used to do like random people spotlights. Like he would like pull up random channels like Poketubers and would like literally just like give a spotlight to somebody that you might not know to point out other Poketubers in the space. And he did that for me at one point. Like I saved the comment. He made it like a really nice comment all the way back then. Didn't know me, just like stumbled onto my video and watched and said like, you have a nice voice. You really like, you give good insight. And like, I really enjoyed watching this video. And like, literally that meant the world to me. Like I was in an isolated bubble, had no connections to the community. This is before I ever really even did VGC. This is like singles content, I think. Just that one thing, I'll never ever forget that. He's always been kind in person. I've been given great advice. He makes excellent content. He's got a great voice. He's a great dude. I like literally everybody that you ask this question to better be talking really nice things about Joey. We all love this dude.
Very fun guy. Love him. I met him years ago, and we've been to a few events together. I'm excited to play him. I know he's very good. I know he made a great like documentary on Wolf as well, which I thought was really good and really interesting to watch. So I'm very excited about that, and I'm just excited to play because these are people I have not played in either ever or in a long time.
As for the matchup, well, Justin summed it up pretty succinctly.
Also, I can spore everything. Fungus is going to be my plan.
Meanwhile, Joey's relying on another Mon.
I think Porygon with the scarf is amazing in the back.
In game 1, Joey relies on Terraflying Pawniard in the front to threaten Fungus, but the Terra Water on Fungus neutralizes that threat, and Justin's able to start clicking Spore.
I'm sporing your whole team, brother.
I would rather play with sleep turns. Have it. I'm playing with sleep. Like if I get these, I'm okay.
Unfortunately for Joey, the sleep turns aren't in his favor, and Justin is able to click Spore to his leisure, setting up Ghastly to rip through the team.
Yeah, man. Another game where I think Misty Terrain would have been amazing, and I'm really kicking myself for this last-minute change.
In game 2, Joey switches it up with Porygon, and the adjustment not only lets him lock Fungus into Choice Scarf Spore, it also lets him take down Ghastly early.
And then Ghastly dies. Okay, perfect. So he managed to kill the Mon that killed every Mon last time.
There's just one problem. Justin doesn't mind being locked into Spore if that's the only move he wants to click anyway. Once again, everything goes to sleep, and Joey has one last hope.
Isn't the end of the world because they actually can't touch Gligar. So Gligar, like they knock and Sludge Bomb, right? So Gligar can burn an initial turn here, and if I get some first turn wakes, there is potential for me to win.
With +2 attack and a bit of luck, Joey can win this, and Justin knows it.
I really don't like that I let my Ghastly go down. I should have sacked the Elekid. I think I'm still gonna lose to this Gligar. I need like maximum sleep turns.
If everything wakes up next turn, we can win. We literally need everything to wake up next turn.
Elekid switches in, and Gligar wakes up. Porygon, however, stays snoozing, and with only one Pokemon left, Joey's forced to eat another Spore, and unfortunately, another L.
Well, we're basically out of this tournament. We're gonna see if we can get a win versus Lorsy. I'm just regretting not having Misty Terrain, man. Like the whole time. Everybody brought Fungus, and we were saying F Fungus in the end, and it was so good in practice when we were running it, and I was just like, ah!
Meanwhile, over in my bracket, it's time for a lesson in greed, courtesy of Dr. Aaron Trailer. Time for me to take on the Carnival Funland that is Aaron Trailer's team. Specifically, it's a Funland for one Pokemon. Streptobeeb. Okay, good luck, have fun to Aaron. To Dr. Aaron Trailer, excuse me. Aaron's got almost all physical attackers, except of course for his nasty plot, no special attack, Impidimp. I get a Numel with coaching on turn 1, but it's time for Aaron to teach all of us the way that you beat Wolf Glick.
It's all about greeting. When you're playing against Wolf Glick, the thing that you have to do, it's so important. You must be as greedy as possible. And you will be rewarded for that in time. And I think that, here's the thing. It's just my time. That's the issue for Wolf. I'm so sorry, but it's my time. So be greedy.
With Tailwind up, Aaron feels confident that he can at least get one KO here. But there is a problem.
What types is Numel? This is the other issue with Little Cup, is I don't know what types anything is. This is the other issue with Little Cup, is I hope that Riolu is Steel type. He's setting up for an epic Numel sweep. But the issue with that is that Foul Play doesn't tend to care about what Numel does. Okay, and here's the issue, is that Riolu is, it's not Steel type.
Numel goes to +4 and explodes Gligar, but I've forgotten something with the slot. So it is Impidimp. So Impidimp is good here because it has Focus Sash, so I can't easily one-shot it, but it's bad here because it can't really... Oh wait, he has Foul Play. Wait, hang on a second. I didn't think about that. Foul Play actually... A Foul Play crit would just one-shot me, so I gotta watch out for that. Unfortunately for Aaron, he himself has also forgotten something.
Oh, it's simple. Oh, I shouldn't have intimidated it. What am I doing?
Intimidate lowering my Numel's attack by 2 stages actually means that Foul Play is going to do less damage. Aaron terastallizes to Dark, and a crit here would win the game. Foul Play. Okay, Dark boosted Foul Play. I'm a little nervous. He has one chance to crit me. My God, that does a lot of damage. Yeah, a crit definitely would have killed me. From here, Aaron knows exactly what's coming in.
I can't believe I'm going to be featured in epic Numel sweep highlights across YouTube Shorts and TikTok. That's a bummer.
Sorry, Aaron. I click coaching one more time. It's all fine because Streptobeeb is +4 speed, +4 attack, +6 defense. Interesting. Aaron goes for a last-ditch Rage Powder.
Okay, he's fallen for my Rage Powder Gambit. This is gonna KO Poltergeist though. Yeah. Cute explosive wolf laugh.
That wasn't even a crit! Numel! Streptobeeb! No laughs here. I am simply in awe of Streptobeeb. Honestly, while this match looked dire for Aaron, I am really impressed by how he played it. Impidimp might be missing a move, but Dark Foul Play does a ton of damage to Numel. And while Aaron is checking his Pokemon stats, he realizes something interesting.
Toadschool is kind of cool here. Let's see how defensive Toadschool is. That's so specially bulky. Oh my God, he's not gonna know that.
I mean, I only got 9th at a regional with Toadscroll, and Aaron's still reading what Mycelium Might does. Game 2 starts, and Aaron makes a huge read.
Wolf has inverted the greediness rankings, and now is getting greedy against me. Now, that's just not going to be okay for him, because now I get to do epic Gligar sweeps.
There's no way he's sporing, right? There's no way he's sporing, right? He's insane. He's a crazy person. What? He called that? That's nuts to me. Okay, now Aaron has all of the momentum, kind of.
Here's how this is going to go. I just get to spore as much as possible, and then it's very important that I start taunting things, because I'm gonna need good sleep rolls in order to be able to taunt to begin with. Oh god, he's gonna be mashing substitute.
He U-turns out while I click substitute and blizzard. And here, Aaron realizes he's made a mistake.
And the issue is if he blizzards, I lose, so I have to go into Impidem. I didn't think about that. Oh man.
Bad news for Aaron, I did in fact click blizzard. Bad news for me, I'm calculating it, and I don't think that Toad School will die to this. I don't think blizzard kills. Oh, it kills, it kills. I don't know what I was calcing.
What? No, Toad School. Toad School, no. No, Toad School. Oh my god.
Bad news for both of us, Toad School is not as tanky as Aaron thought it was, and I was in fact calculating with Toad Scroll. I pull off another blizzard while Aaron thinks I'm going to Aurora Veil, and now I think I have this sealed up, but I make a huge mistake, leaving Riolu open to a double up. Or was it a mistake? I should have gone for blizzard. This was a greedy play. I just didn't think he'd go for that. He called me out a couple times, honestly. Okay. And bit of his down, and now it would be really difficult for me to lose this, although not impossible. I've seen me lose games like this before. But I think that what I can do is coaching, switch to Numel finally, and then if I just get... Okay, he forfeits. Yeah, GG. Yeah. Well, as we all know from Aaron, greed is good. I move on to 1-1 in the group while he falls to 0 wins and 2 losses. Our final match of round 2 is Marcus versus Brendan. Marcus's Fungus is a big problem for a lot of Brendan's team. His main counterplay is Worried Seed Cottony or Soak shenanigans. However, Marcus isn't great at breaking through Porygon. In game 1, all of that nuance goes out the window when this happens on turn 3.
Ice Beam. Do a little bit of damage. Oh, but I froze. That's really good for me.
Should live this. But we get the freeze. That's how it goes sometimes. Well, we had 2 chances and didn't get it. He had 1 and he gets it.
Brendan follows it up with a first turn wake on Jupiter.
Porygon 2's down low doesn't really matter. And I get the first turn wake up. I'm getting pretty lucky this game. Oh my god. Liquidation does so much damage.
Marcus manages to kind of pull things back thanks to the threat of his Encore, plus Alolan Vulpix and Gligar's ridiculous bulk, even with the crucial Blizzard miss of his own.
Oh, wait, we were faster. Yeah, you know what we could have done? Encore the Litten into Fake Out, predict the Protect. Yeah, maybe if we had the Sword Stance up, yeah, maybe something was possible here for us.
The game ends up with Marcus's Vulpix and Terra Fairy Gligar against a 15 HP Jupiter and 100 HP Porygon. In reality, the Blizzard miss on Jupiter is actually helpful here, because it means that Brendan doesn't get a free switch into Cottony. Porygon is really bulky, but if Marcus can claim a double KO here, he'll win. Unfortunately for Marcus, he will never get a chance to see that damage.
Okay, please, Gligar. Please, 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 please. Cottony, okay. Well, if we Blizzard... No! Okay, freeze. Freeze. Something. Give me something.
Hours power miss. I'm getting so lucky. Oh my gosh. The luckiest person ever.
Oh, that sucks. That's like really bad luck.
Marcus goes down, but Brendan knows that it wasn't guaranteed.
I think Marcus played better than me and had a better game plan, and I still managed to win because I was lucky. So let's see if I can try to win without being so lucky.
In game 2, Marcus changes things up with Gligar and Elekid lead, but the important Pokemon is in the back. After knocking off Porygon's Eviolite, Marcus brings in Choice Scarf Gothita and tricks the Porygon after just taking away its Eviolite. This is a very funny mistake from Marcus, but giving Porygon a Choice Scarf does keep his Gligar safe. Despite losing Elekid and Gothita early, Marcus gets a huge critical hit Psychic off on Porygon in time, and a Swords Dance on Gligar. He may be down 2 Pokemon, but this is still winnable.
Wait. Can we bring this back?
With Fungus support, Gligar is really hard to KO, and with a Swords Dance, Brendan's team is in danger. The only Pokemon that can handle Gligar are Jupiter and Porygon, but Marcus catches Jupiter on the switch, cutting those options in half. However, Brendan sees a very cool out.
Okay, I see an out, which is like Worry Seed them Terra Fake Out, and then Charm the next turn, because they're neutral.
Marcus is happy to get damage on the Terragrass Litten, but by worry seeding, Brendan has given himself one chance to win.
Oh, he could charm. He can charm. I forgot about that. Yeah, he can just charm. Oh, this is not gonna KO, is it? Oh, with the Palm Puff? No, it should. By
worry seeding Gligar, Brendan can now charm it, and that gives Porygon a chance to switch in. If it lives, Litten can start cycling Intimidate. Dual Wing Beat does nothing, but Marcus follows up with Pollen Puff and grabs the KO and the game. Both these games have been wild. In game 1, Brendan narrowly got the victory thanks to some good rolls. In game 2, Marcus made a bit of a mistake early, but was able to find the benefit and reposition for a good win thanks to getting rid of Eviolite. What is going to happen in the final game of the set? Game 3 opens with Marcus's Gothita Porygon against Brendan's Porygon and Litten, and Marcus knows his game plan. Last time, he won thanks to removing Porygon's Eviolite. That's the same goal here. He's tricking the Porygon. The only question is how Brendan will react. The turn starts and it's immediate disaster.
Oh no. Well, that's not good. Right, their Terra Ghost.
Brendan goes for Fake Out into Gothita, and now watch the Majesty take place.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Okay, we're tricking. Wait, I think I might be cooking. What is he going for? He's Scarf now. Did he go for Trick Room? No way! Oh! This is Bochum Finals 2023. That's actually insane.
See, back in 2023, Marcus made it to the finals of the Bochum Regionals, where he faced down a hard Trick Room team, and he had a Gothitelle on his team. But there, it wasn't Gothitelle who was tricking the Trick Room, it was Goldango. In the final game, Marcus tricked his choice specs onto Indeedee, who promptly used Trick Room. And with Gothitelle on the field, Indeedee was forced to stay in and click Trick Room over and over again, a situation which instantly won him the game on the spot, leaving him free to focus down the other slot while Indeedee pitifully swapped the dimensions over and over again. That's the exact same situation we have here. Brendan's poor Porygon is without an Eviolite and forced to keep spamming Trick Room, and while he does his best to pivot in and out to mitigate damage, it's just not enough. By the time Gothita goes down, Marcus has done way too much damage, and Brendan is forced to forfeit.
Let's go. Oh my god. Wow. I can't believe that. Oh, and that's why we got Gothita on the team. That's why we have Gothita on the team.
With that statement win, Marcus puts himself at 2 wins and 0 losses. The standings now look like this. In both groups, the players who have lost twice are mathematically eliminated. That said, their matches still matter. First and foremost, to potentially play Spoiler, and more importantly, for Pride.
I'm just gonna try and get a win, just one. Just one win is all I want now.
So, let's see if Joey can block Lorsy's path to playoffs. Lorsy mentioned that he's scared to play Joey, but Joey is nothing but excited to play his friend.
Lorsy as well is a longtime friend, one of the first people I knew, so I'm excited to play all of them, and hopefully I can come out in the top 2. That way I can go further in this tournament, but we'll see what ends up happening here.
Both players know exactly what their game plan is.
We're just gonna go spam redirection and big damage moves. That's what we'll do.
Lorsy's going to be relying on Fungus, but Joey has had his fill of Fungus by this point, and he's got a plan.
I'm going to try and play around Spore the best of my abilities, because I assume if I lead these two, they'll Terra, right? So I can trick Fungus, protect, and then have you come in later to Rage Powder when it Terra Water, so it actually has to follow me. And then from there, what can win the game? And I have to have Poniard in the back. Okay, let's see how it goes. We'll try it. We're gonna try it.
Joey's trick strategy pays off in spades in game 1, when he's able to lock Fungus into Spore and then pivot into Poltergeist. Lorsy may get Quiver Dances up, but Joey shows off his favorite Pokemon by cursing through the Protect, putting it on a very harsh timer. With 2 of Lorsy's Pokemon severely hampered, he has to change modes and is able to get a Swords Dance up on Corphish next to Elekid. Now, Lorsy's got a strong Corphish, but with one problem. It's slower than both of Joey's Pokemon. Lorsy does have a solution, Electroweb. He goes for Electroweb and sees Porygon wake up?
Still faster. I don't know if I speak tears.
Remember, Lorsy, this is fast Porygon. Porygon blows back Corphish before it can use its boost, and the now Defiant boosted Pawniard does a huge chunk to Elekid, effectively ending the game. A few attacks later, Joey picks up the Game 1 win. For Game 2, the players stick to the same leads and the same plans. After a bit more trickery, Joey sees a chance to finally pull off the strategy he's been angling for this entire time. He tricks Cutiefly, stealing its Eviolite.
Yeah, so I get the Eviolite, which is nice. It means I'm very, very, very bulky. And again, I have double Eviolite now, so I have double restricted.
Finally, Joey's turned this from Reg G into Reg I. He's got double restricted Pokemon. Unfortunately for Joey, both his restricted Pokemon are asleep, and Lorsy's already got 2 Quiver Dances. Once again, Joey's betting on sleep turns, and his Gligar does wake up, but it's on the exact wrong turn.
All right, so they protect that turn. But if I hope I stay asleep this turn, right? Because if I stay asleep this turn, no. Why? That wasn't even a 3rd turn. Give me a full 3 turns.
If Gligar had stayed asleep this turn, it could attack Cutiefly on the next turn, when it had already protected. As is, it has to go to sleep all over again. Lorsy's free to click Dazzling Gleam over and over, and brings out Elekid to shield it. Once again, Joey is begging for the right sleep turns. Elekid clicks Follow Me, Dazzling Gleam goes off, and
you don't wake up. Let's go.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. 3 turn is crazy.
When Gligar needs to sleep for 3 turns, he's an early riser. When he needs to get going, you can't get him out of bed. And Game 2 goes to Lorsy. We're going to Game 3. We've got exactly the same leads, and despite losing his whole team to it last game, Joey is not afraid of Cutiefly.
Okay, hey, go. This is all right. That mon's fake. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that mon's fake. It feels fake.
Joey knows that Fungus is the real threat, but this time, Lorsy's ready for the play. He lets Fungus get tricked, but tears to Fairy immediately and reads Joey's Protect, sporing the other slot. Once again, this match is all Fungus. Joey does a phenomenal job of maneuvering around Spore via his Poltergeist and his already sleeping Porygon, but he takes some heavy damage in the process.
Last time they crit me. Well, this time they crit me too. Let's go. Okay. Not the end of the world.
But Joey finally manages the position he's been looking for. Pawniard and Trick Room against Cutiefly, no redirection on the field, free to attack with impunity.
Or switch, and I'm just gonna double attack Corphish. Yeah, okay, cool. So ideally they, crab hammer into my Pawniard. Pawniard lives, and then Porygon wakes up, knocks this out with the combination of Brick Break plus that. Let's see.
Cursed and in danger, Cutiefly has to switch out. Joey reads it, but Corphish is just too tanky. Now it's time for Gligar and Fungus to come back in, and Scarf be damned, this Fungus is gonna be slow. Joey's Trick Room is now a prison of his own making.
Do not make last minute changes. Do not. Ever. Don't ever make last minute changes.
Hang on, this might be winnable. Sucker Punch might KO Corphish. It needs to Aqua Jet, but that won't KO Pawniard. And then Joey can get more damage. The real problem here is the Fungus. How does Joey dodge Spore on this turn? Well, there is one way.
Oh, Joey!
Always play to your outs. Joey lands his double protect, keeping Gligar safe and wastes another turn of Trick Room. Aqua Jet makes Sucker Punch fail, but now Trick Room is done, and Joey's threatening both Sucker Punch into Corphish and dual Wing Beat into Fungus. But Lorsy is fearless. He Aqua Jets Pawniard down, sealing up the KO on Pawniard, and sealing Joey's tournament fate with, fittingly enough, another Spore. Joey, of course, can only think about one thing.
Oh my god, Gligar, you're a beast, bro. I really wish I had the Misty Terrain up to support you better, buddy. Because then Terra Dragon would have been fine, but then Pawniard also would have been good.
With that, Joey is officially out of the tournament. But if he'd had Misty Terrain, this could have been a very different story. Joey positioned amazingly all tournament long, but it was the status and his bad luck with said status that ultimately put him out. At the end of it all, he only has one piece of advice.
I'm sorry that I couldn't do anything, really. I got 1 win this entire tour out of 3 sets. Yeah, VGC's fun. Definitely don't make changes last minute. I know I've been saying that the whole time, but I mean it. Look how good Misty Terrain would have been in every single one of these. Never fearing sleep, which most of these teams functioned on, sleep plus follow me, and then giving Pawniard free leeway, and even me able to go the coaching route with Riolu, which I wasn't able to use at all really this entire time. But hope y'all enjoyed anyway. I'm sorry for my run. Thank you, Wolf, for inviting me, and that's it. Peace.
Lorsy's moved up to 2 wins and 1 loss, meaning if Justin Karras wins, Lorsy is through to playoffs. But if Lou and Billa win, then Lorsy's in trouble. Here's the current game count. Because Lorsy went to game 3 in both of his wins and he lost to Justin 2-0, his game record is the weakest, which would be the first tiebreaker. At the worst, if Billa and Lou win, they'd have 5 wins and 3 losses, which would guarantee both them and Justin through. For Lorsy to advance, he's got to root for his biggest rival, Justin. Unfortunately for Lorsy, Justin is up against his kryptonite.
So fun fact about Lou is she has an undefeated record against me. It was the 2017 London challenge that I won. She was like one of the only people to like really whoop my butt because she had a Lily Cole team. Barish, yeah, he's all right. I'm not worried about him. I'm really, really worried about Lou.
So fun fact, the last time I played Justin was in a grassroots tour. Again, I mean, have you played him competitively before?
Ooh, I don't think we played ever at like.
I've only ever played him at grassroots, and it was one of the most like terrifying matches of my life. I'm not looking forward to repeating that best of 3 set.
But Lou, you won.
I actually forgot that part. Yeah, I did win. I forgot about that actually. I just remember it being with the time zones. It was really late for me, and I was like really stressed and everything. And I was playing Justin Karras, and it was a big freaky moment.
Was when you played.
I had Torkoal, Lilycole.
Lilycole, but also
Oricorio.
Oricorio, correct.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I did win that. Okay, Justin, you're going down. I said that with some kind of confidence, right?
If there's a single Pokemon that's defined this tournament so far, it might not be Gligar, it might not be Porygon, it's a different Pokemon on Justin's team.
We are
going for the Fungus.
Fungus is the hard Trick Room counter. If Billa and Lou want to win, they need to get rid of the Mushroom, which is why Justin starts things off with Fungus immediately next to Scraggy, while Billa and Lou go Glimmet and Grookey. This is similar to the game against Lorsy, but there's one key difference here.
Fungus doesn't have Protect.
Okay.
So we can just Meteor Beam the Fungus.
Go Fake Out Meteor Beam?
Are you going to trade your Grookey? Turn 1? There's no way it's KOs, does it? I feel like it might. Oh no. It did.
Yes, okay, Moongus is down. We don't have to worry about a Moongus. Why did we not do that in our game against Lorsy? Why?
Well, Lorsy had Protect on his Fungus, so it made it a little bit trickier.
Okay, fair, good. Good justification. You make me feel better, thank you.
With that turn, Billa and Lou have just removed their biggest threat immediately and given their Glimmet a huge boost. Justin brings out Elekid to threaten an Electroweb and uses it to bait Glimmet into protecting, losing his Assault Vest in the process while Scraggy snarls. Now Lou is presented with a very difficult question.
Do you know, okay, I don't know my effectiveness table, but Poison is not effective against Dark? Is it neutral? Or just it's electro? I'm such a fraud. Don't tell anyone. Do you know?
Why do you think I'm being quiet?
It's effective. Okay, it's neutral. Never mind. I didn't say anything.
You gotta play the casting game. Sometimes when your brain's having a fart, you wait until you see on the screen and then you say it.
Okay.
When you're not sure what's happening, you commit to nothing.
Okay.
With Glimmet having just protected, Justin's able to go for Electroweb now, but...
Please, by some miracle, be faster. Like... I know Scraggy's not very fast. No, Woodhammer is gonna hurt, bro. Yikes.
Billa and Lou double up into Scraggy, and Justin realizes he had a perfect defensive play available.
I could have Terra Poisoned.
But there's no time for that now. It's Ghastly time. At least Lou's a fan.
This has got a sash as well, just bear that in mind. Well, the shiny's pretty. Extra cute points.
This time, Electroweb does let Justin go first. He KOs Glimmet, but Billa and Lou have only one target, and a mechanical gripe to go with it.
I feel like when you knock off a focus sash, you knock it off that you can't use it, right? Like, Ghastly, I'm happy for you and all, but like, come on. The mechanics there are a little interesting. But then again, if you knock off the Rocky Helmet, you take damage. Okay, I get it.
With Grassy Terrain still active for one more turn, Justin knows he needs to protect to keep Ghastly safe. And he also knows that if Trick Room goes up, he's done for. Thing is, so do Billa and Lou.
Yeah, okay. Brother, please. You're gonna read me every turn?
Lou seal up the match with a nice protect read, and now it's time for game 2 prep.
Here's my idea. Because we destroyed them with Glimmet, they're gonna counter lead the Gligar this time.
Yeah, I can see that. I can really see that.
So I want to lead Porygon. That gives us a special attack boost.
Billa and Lou lock in Grookey Porygon, aiming to catch the Gligar switch up from Justin. Justin has switched, but it's not Gligar who's in the lead now, it's Elekid, a perfect lead for Justin, who can now stop Trick Room in its tracks. Thanks to Covert Cloak, Fake Out won't do anything. Knowing this, Lou have to settle for a Fake Out into Scraggy, and this time, Justin's making sure to get that Poison Terra out immediately. Elekid taunts Porygon, and Pori trades a Terra Blast right back. Justin hasn't gotten any damage down, but he has achieved his primary goal, stopping Trick Room. Justin opts to protect Elekid, but Billa and Lou read into it perfectly.
Yeah, go ahead and do your continuous double knockoff. Double targeting my freaking... whatever, dude. I gotta try and win this game without taking these types of risks, because if I get to a game 3, it's going to be very useful for me to actually punish it. Yeah, it did nothing. That's a joke.
Again, not much damage for Justin, but he is slowing them down. This time, Justin does read the target correctly, bringing in Fungus to tank the double up, and drain punching Grookey for absolutely huge damage. Justin's learned from his game 1. He knows that Fungus is Biloo enemy number 1. He exploits the eagerness on Billa and Lu's part by immediately switching it out into Elekid, keeping the mushrooms item safe and buying time for Scraggy to freely launch another attack.
It's okay. I think I survived this now. Please. Okay, whatever.
The miss on Grookey is honestly fine. Justin would probably prefer not to give them the free switch, and the Porygon hit is all that matters for Elekid to survive. Justin is absolutely dancing now, pivoting perfectly, ignoring Grookey, and continually weakening his opponents. For the record, that Porygon is now at -2 special attack, and the Grookey's at -1 attack. There's just no damage to be done. And he's not done yet. He hard switches to Fungus again, reading the Grassy Glide. But that's not the most important switch of the turn. That would be on the other side.
Yo, can I get something good? Limit? Yes. Let's go.
That's annoying.
Porygon comes in and gets an attack boost, which makes Justin feel safe, even knowing the Mushroom Extinction agenda on the other side. He calmly locks in Snarl and Spore. Snarl hits, and it's at this point that both sides remember a quirk of Terra Blast.
Nice, there's the Grookey, so I'm definitely not going down to this Ice Beam unless he gets the, unless he had a boost. Oh no, it's an attack boost. No, isn't it? It's an attack boost, isn't it? No.
Wait, this is physical now. Might be physical.
It's not Ice Beam, it's Terra Flying Terra Blast, which is now a physical attack, meaning that Snarl did nothing and the download boost is actually relevant. Once again, Fungus is in danger. The attack goes off and...
I'm living, let's go. Fungus, you beast. You beast of a little mushroom. Little portabella.
Spore goes into Porygon and Corphish is soon to follow. So it does a cool little dance on its way to bedtime. If the sleep turns work out for Justin, this should be curtains, but that's only if the sleep turns work out. For what feels like the first time all tournament, there's a first turn wake up, and Porygon is able to take out Fungus while Scraggy does decent damage to Corphish. Lucky for Justin, he has a Focus Sash in the back, as long as there's not another first turn wake.
So mad. Oh my god. Cheaters. Okay, I didn't bring my sash, so we're chilling.
Corphish gets damage off, but Ghastly's Focus Sash is still intact. And though Trick Room goes up, Corphish goes down.
Do you know what would have been a nice play if you survived this turn? Is going for the Protect on the Corphish?
Yes. There would, I mean, with what he just used now, it would have been almost game winning.
I was going to say, you know, and then you'd already locked in the moves.
Now things are truly over. Justin is able to just attack down, using his Pokemon advantage to trade down, and bringing us into game 3. That game was decided by a surprising one-shot, this time the other way around. Glimmet was the difference maker in game 1, but Lou can't let it go for free again. They switch back to what's becoming a staple, the Glimmet and Grookey lead, but Justin's brought his firepower in the lead as well, Ghastly. There's a big threat here of Elekid knockoff into Glimmet, but Justin leaves Elekid open. He could end up in trouble. Instead, he protects. And although Meteor Beam goes straight into the shield, it still gives Glimmet the all-important boost. Again, Ghastly Sash is crucial here, so Justin terastallizes Elekid and clicks Follow Me, hoping to tank both attacks while he nasty plots. There's just one problem. Billa and Lou only need one attack, Sludge Bomb. Justin's got a +2 Ghastly, but at the cost of both his Terra and his Elekid, and with not a point of damage dealt. It's time for his ace.
There's not a lot we can do if he brings in Fungus.
You had to speak it into existence.
Justin's Ghastly is the fastest thing on the field, so Glimmet is in danger. This is a hard turn for Billa and Lou. Target Fungus and you leave Sash intact. Plus, we already know that it lives a Terra Blast. Target Ghastly and Fungus gets a Spore. They opt to go after the Ghastly. Justin calls out No Protect on Glimmet and KOs it, while Porygon Terras and targets down Ghastly, bringing it down to Sash before going to sleep. But with Sash gone, Baloo can bring out one of their priority Pokemon again, in this case, Grookey.
Kind of want to say he double attacks here.
I think he double attacks. He's got the advantage.
But Justin doesn't double attack. He abandons his Ghastly boosts, and Scraggy ends up taking a huge critical hit Grassy Glide.
Okay. Thank you. At least I got that play right, I guess.
That damage, though, is nothing compared to what Fungus has in store.
Oh, why is this mushroom so annoying?
With Billu down to their last 2 Pokemon, they're on the ropes. Justin can play this slow and rely on Scraggy's damage. Probably.
Please don't wake up. Please don't wake up.
Corphish protects against the Drain Punch, but this turn should be good for Justin anyway. Until...
Nice, Porygon. Thank you for joining us.
Oh my god, you lucky piece of crap. I hate you both.
That 1-turn wake is huge, because again, Justin doesn't have Protect on Fungus, and Lou's come up with a sick play to ensure that a Pokemon goes down here no matter what.
What if we went Terra Blast Aqua Jet? In case he switches the Fungus out, the Aqua Jet KOs the 1 HP Ghastly, and then it redirects into the Scraggy anyway. But that way also, if he keeps the Fungus in, it gets the additional chip needed for the Terra Blast to get the knockout.
Justin doesn't switch, but thanks to the 100% accurate Aqua Jet, Fungus does go down. This battle's coming down to the very wire, and now there's just one question left.
Is he protecting or not?
He's 100% protecting.
If Aqua Jet goes into Protect and Scraggy KOs Corphish, Justin can win. But if Ghastly goes down, Billu will win. This looks like a full 50-50, until Billa sees another way, with an assist by Lou.
No, he's not protecting. I don't know. It's Justin Karras.
We could
games.
protect and Trick Room. The best he can do is Shadow Ball knockoff. But Shadow Ball comes off first, it's not KOing us.
It's the exact play that Lou was going to say last game, the one that might have won the game if they had locked it in. And that's good enough reason to use it here.
Do it. We didn't do it last game. Do it. I will take the punishment if it comes on me.
Protect is perfect because,
yes.
Yeah.
Justin protects, Trick Room goes up, and now there's only one out. The same out Joey had last game. Double protect. Justin locks in his only move, and it fails. Billa and Lou take out Ghastly, then Scraggy. And that's GG.
Now we can say we won. Yay! Go Porygon and go Corphish. Corphish. It's how he says it in the anime before anyone thinks I'm just crazy over here. Corphish! He turns up with Ash, he's like, Corphish! He's so cute!
I was just going to say, like, people might be thinking, hey, 2 players at once, isn't that unfair? Actually, it's like really challenging because you both have like completely different ideas on where to go with the game. You follow one path, but then took a wrong turn based on one player's idea.
Plus, our brains operate at very different speeds.
Yes,
I'm super dyslexic, so I'm always like a computer on buffer mode.
This is Chrome and this is Windows Explorer.
But that's the thing, you're someone who'll like lock in your moves, whereas as I was kind of saying before, like I will overthink everything and then I'm just like panic mode. I mean, you can see that. Like I feel like I'm more of a hindrance to you than anything in this, but you love me, so it's okay.
With this win, we have 2 of our semifinalists locked on this side of the bracket, the 2 that we just saw. Despite a valiant effort and a 2-1 record, thanks to the game count, Lorsy is out of the tournament. I mean, to be fair, he was up against a guy whose birthday it was and a married couple on their anniversary, so ultimately, I think the deck was just stacked against him. With that, it's time to move on to the other groups. First up, it's Aaron versus Brendan. Aaron is already eliminated, but for Brendan, the tiebreakers could make a big difference. It's still exciting, not least of all because it gives us a chance to see Brendan react to Aaron's team for the first time.
Team. I think there's some weird choices here. I think Gligar, my Gligar is quite good into his team. So I'm just gonna go with my Gligar, Voltorb lead, the Tricker mode in the back and see how it goes. Hopefully Gligar kind of just tears through everything and I don't even have to click Tricker, but we'll see.
Efficient as always, Brendan. Meanwhile, Aaron has settled on his plan. If he doesn't know what he's doing, how will Brendan?
I'll lead both of these, and he just won't know what's going to happen, and then I'll get Gligar in and have Impidimp as last. I think this is the only way I can win against these Pokemon.
Game 1 starts with Toadstool and Poltergeist versus Voltorb and Gligar. Brendan opens up with huge damage, taking Toadstool's Citrus Berry and KOing Poltergeist, but Gligar goes to sleep. Now it's time for Gligar on Gligar action. Now here's the thing, folks. This would normally be a pretty great position for Aaron if his Gligar didn't have the absolute worst EV spread of all time.
This is going to be huge if I can actually get the Gligar. That doesn't do any damage. It does a lot of damage, I think.
At this point, the plan is clear. And guys, it's so simple.
I just need a big sleep. I just need a huge sleep. I need to sleep for 3 turns and then Tailwind, and then Impidimp can run away with the game.
Meanwhile, Brendan also has extremely complex plans going on.
These Pokemon are so cute. Toadstool, really cute. Voltorb with those like block eyebrows. It's adorable.
With only Impidimp and the weakest Gligar of all time left, Aaron has only one path to victory available.
So now I should Nasty Plot. It would be so BM to Nasty Plot him. But I have to take it seriously because it impacts Wolf and Marcus's game. If it didn't impact Wolf and Marcus's game, you can bet that I would be clicking Nasty Plot right here, right now, with my impy dim.
Aaron's good manners don't end up helping. Brendan double switches on the Tailwind and Sucker Punch, totally goobing Aaron and overwhelming him with damage. I mean, Aaron's doing damage too, don't get me wrong, it's just not a lot.
God, my Pokemon are so bad.
Trick Room goes up, Jupiter liquidates Gligar, and it's only Impidimp left, which means...
I finally got my Nasty Plot off against Brendan, thank goodness.
Nasty Plot. It's good. It's funny.
Whoa, hang on. Can we report this guy? He's smurfing. He's not even trying. He could still have won if he just, all he had to do was, forget it. Let's just move on to game 2. Aaron is deep in thought. Brendan, on the other hand,
I think I'm gonna mix it up for game 2, just so that we can see some more variety of what my team can do.
he's just styling on this guy.
Here's the thing about Choice Scarf Tinky Winky, is it could be okay. He doesn't know it's not gonna be okay, but it could be okay. I'm gonna lead Choice Scarf Tinky Winky that only has 2 move slots.
I guess we'll see some variety from Aaron too. Also, I think one of the funniest things about this tournament to me is that Aaron just, he only calls it Tinky Winky. And I don't even know if he knows what the real name is. Like, I didn't tell him. Like, I think he might not know. Like, if you told me that he genuinely believes that's what it's called, I think I'd believe you. And I don't know, I just think it's so funny because it's so bad. And he calls it Tinky Winky, which it's just insult to injury. Anyway, it's Litten and Tinky Winky versus Porygon and Cottony, and a chance for Aaron to click his secret weapon.
Ice Hammer lowers your speed? What is this move?
Litten fake outs Porygon, and Cottony charms Litten, not Tinkatink. This is it, the chance for Aaron's program to show just what it was cooking.
That's messed up. That sucks. For the first time in 6 games, I was going to get into a decent position, and Tinky Winky failed me. Tinky Winky failed me in like the most outrageous fashion, and now I'm just gonna lose everything.
But don't worry, Aaron. Tinky Winky will ride again.
I have used some disappointing Pokemon, but like, Tinky Winky, a DC. He DC'd on Tinky Winky. He was probably so scared. Oh my god, he was so scared of Tinky Winky.
You know the term Deus Ex Machina? It means when a totally unsolvable problem is suddenly fixed by something totally unlikely with no prior warning. Do you know what it translates to? God in the machine. Aaron has given his life to the machine, and the spirit inside has rewarded him with another chance. It is taking a toll though.
Oh my god, Tinky Winky. I can't believe Ice Hammer. What does Ice Hammer do? Why does he get it? Why did my program let it use it? No. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Out of the goodness of his heart, Brendan has kindly allowed Tinky Winky. You know, he's gonna charm Tinky Winky this time. He is going to he's gonna prevent it from taking the 1 KO, and then it's going to reduce its speed.
But Brendan is a gentleman. He charms Litten once again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time, for the second time ever, for Tinky Winky to drop the hammer.
It doesn't do any damage. It doesn't do any damage. It doesn't do any damage at all.
Brendan goes on to procedurally eliminate every single one of Aaron's Pokemon except for Tinky Winky, because why bother? At the end, it's Tinky Winky versus the world.
Why is Tinkatink so bad? Yeah, of course you're withdrawing Gligar. What are you gonna do, recover? Oh, he probably wants a Mon advantage. I should have been clicking that move. What the heck?
Somehow Tinkatink actually takes another KO, and Brendan even thinks it might take another.
Oh, wait. Oops.
He's gonna be bummed that I get 2 KOs here. And I don't actually get 2 KOs here. I don't take... He's gonna be bummed that I get the 3rd KO here, and like he doesn't know that I'm impish 4 speed Tinky Winky. It's gonna be, it's literally, I think it's 130, yeah, it's like 125 speed and it's 137 on Gligar. I got 2 KOs that game, and that's a big deal. That's actually pretty huge. So I'm actually, all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this tournament went, and it didn't go at all poorly for me. So, yeah, great tournament.
Thanks, Aaron. The feeling is mutual. Brendan's win over Aaron has big implications for the last match of the group stage. Myself versus Marcus. Going into this match, the record is 2-0 Marcus, 2-1 Brendan, and 1-1 me. If Marcus wins, him and Brendan will make it in. But if I win, we go to another tiebreaker, and then it comes down to game count. Here's the situation. If I win 2-0, I will cleanly make it in. But if I win 2-1, all of us will have a tied game count as well. And from there, the next tiebreaker is Pokemon count. Here's the current Pokemon count. Marcus is the best differential, with Brendan close behind, and then in last place, me. Brendan should hypothetically be locked, since Marcus and I will have an inversely correlated Pokemon count from this point on. There's no world where both of us could pass him. If my differential goes up by 3, Marcus will go down by 3 and end up below Brendan. But I could theoretically win and still have a worse differential than both of them. Basically, the only way to guarantee that I advance is to not only win, but to win in 2 games. But I can't think about that. I just need to play my best Pokemon possible. And here, I think that's Streptobeeb. Sure, Marcus has a ton of special attackers, but I have Aromatic Mist. If there's ever a time to use it, it's now. Game 1 kicks off with Vulpix and Cutiefly against Porygon and Gothita. And I actually don't think I'm supposed to go for Aromatic Mist here. I have a really safe play here. Blizzard and Pollen Puff into Gothita. It gets off a nice Psychic on my Cutiefly first, but Pollen Puff does a ton back. Now it's time for Blizzard. Oh! Stay frozen, 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 stay frozen. Yeah!
Are you kidding me?
Finally, after what feels like 20 blizzards, I get a freeze. It sucks for Marcus, but I've been waiting for this, and I'm ready to capitalize. With Gligar out, I know Marcus is going to Terra, so I'm just going to get my Auroraville up and my damage down. Not very effective, but he gets the kill anyway. Smart. Covers 4. He didn't Terra? Did he read me?
Oh, we didn't Terra? This is not my day. Well, maybe it is my day, because we just thought out. Okay. We're back. We're so back. Okay, actually, I'm sorry. I played in a tournament today, like in a less important tournament, but like a proper VGC tournament. And my brain is just fried at this point.
Proper VGC, you say, Marcus? That's not going to help you here, because there's no prankster Riolu in proper VGC. Marcus protects Gligar and terrestrializes his Porygon to dodge close combat, but I'm not attacking. I set up Substitute on Riolu. Terra Blast goes into Vulpix, but it doesn't KO, which is actually pretty bad. I really want to get Numelen without taking a hit, but at this point, I just don't have a choice. It's time for Streptobeeb. I bring in Numel and it shrugs off a high horsepower, while Marcus recovers. The Streptobeeb has landed safely. I give her coaching in Terra Water, and now it's time for an education in Streptobeeb for Marcus.
Crit. Oh my god, that did nothing.
Oh!
Wow, I got Numeled.
Actually, Marcus, you got Streptobeebed. I get Numel up to +6/+6. Marcus admittedly makes some great calls. Okay, he gets the call right. He always does. That's his thing. We want to see no protect from Fungus. Oh, he didn't fall for it. He didn't crit either. 15 damage. Okay, that's game. I think that's game. But it's not enough to stop a boosted Streptobeeb. Hey, at least Marcus learned something from this game, right?
Okay, so now we know Numel is slow, and we know that we kind of need to crit it.
I won that game pretty handedly by handling the special attackers in the front, but game 2 is a different story.
I feel like Wolf's gonna do something completely different this game, and then we're leading Gligar and we're just getting cooked.
It's not a great strategy. There's a couple ways that it could backfire, but I think that like if I'm able to get Aromatic Mist off and start going for flame charges early, I think that actually serves me a lot better. I switch it up, but this is the worst lead I could possibly see. I think I lose on the leads alone, yeah. This is pretty difficult because I don't have a switch into this. Gligar outspeeds Cutiefly, and Elekid can knock off my Eviolite. I have no switch-ins. I just need to take this turn on the chin. Marcus goes for exactly what I expected, KOing Cutiefly and knocking off Numel, while I do pitiful damage into Gligar. +2 speed. That's the only good thing, unfortunately. This looks cooked. I think Gothita is probably in the back, and then Numel will go down, not to mention Porygon. But I have to go in on this turn. I click coaching into Numel, fully expecting this to be Riolu's last turn on the field, but this prankster Pokemon has one more trick.
Oh, wait, it's Terra Steel. Oh, never mind. I keep forgetting, like, Riolu is only fighting type. So I should have gone for dual wing beat, and I didn't. And that might, like, cost me the game. Oh, we're faster, but we're missing. Oh, it's a ground type? Oh my god, I'm I was convinced it was like a fire type. That's why I did so much to Porygon. That makes so much more sense now.
The type chart strikes again. Just like Aaron before him, Marcus thought that Riolu was a steel type, and he forgot that Numel was a ground type. In a turn that I thought would end with Marcus in a better position and my Riolu knocked out, I instead still have both my Pokemon alive, and Elekid wasted its turn completely.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't ready for Numel, so I think that is justified. Yeah, if we went for dual wing beat and got the KO, and if Numel wasn't a ground type.
Here's the thing about Streptobeeb. He might be slow to start, but when he gets going, he gets going. I get off another coaching and flame charge, and though Riolu goes down, I'm feeling good. Okay, basically I'm down 2 against 3, but I have the strongest Streptobeeb of all time, which is very nice. We both bring in our Rage Powder Pokemon, and Numel goes to slurp down some nice Matcha. I have to attack Fungus on this turn because of Spore, so Marcus protects and attacks my Poltegeist. But thanks to the bulk I gave it and the Citrus Berry, Poltegeist just holds on. Now with Protect burned, that slot is wide open. Numel flame charges and ends Fungus's life, while Gligar takes down Poltegeist. It's a 2v1, but my Numel is +6 speed, and Choice Scarf Gothita has no Protect. Marcus's only chance is to critical hit me on this turn to win. Scarf Gothita is crazy. Okay, I got the KO. He has to crit me this turn. He might need double crit, but because he knocked off my Eviolite, maybe single crit works. Double crit being dual wing beat, both crit. High horsepower? No crit. Okay, crit probably would have done it, honestly. And to close out the game, I get to go for Terra Blast. With a 2-0 victory, I win the match, and thankfully get to ignore the tiebreakers entirely. Unfortunately, it does mean that Marcus's tournament is over.
Well, I think we're out. I think that's it. But yeah, it was a fun run. We got that nice game in against Brendan with a trick. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, kind of, I don't know, anticlimactic. Long day, but yeah, it was fun. GG's.
Honestly, Marcus played great, and maybe pulled one of the best plays of the tournament against Brendan. But when you've been playing a whole day of Pokemon, it's super hard to stay focused and keep all the information in your head, especially when it's with Pokemon you've never used before. That brings our groups to a close, and sets the semi-final matchups. From Group A, first seed Justin advances to take on second seed Brendan, while I somehow clutch first seed and take on Bill Lou. But don't let these seeds fool you. After all, Billa and Lou won their match against Justin, and Brendan beat me. It's a dead heat going into the semi-finals. Each of us has crafted our own take on this brand new format, painstakingly selecting the Pokemon that excel in a game mode that we've barely ever touched. Will it be a happy birthday for Justin, the man who did so much research he warped the metagame before we started playing? An anniversary present for Billa and Lou? 2 minds with the Little Cup experience backing their run? Just another day in the park for Brendan, the world champion with best-in-class team building, hauling a squad full of tricks? Or will it be me and Streptobeeb? The playoffs of the Tiny Terror Invitational start now. First up, it's Justin versus Brendan. Brendan has already said that he's maybe most afraid of Justin, and he has more reason for fear. I feel like I've said this about all of Justin's battles, but this one's personal.
Well, Brendan was invited to my party last night and didn't come, so big beef there. I hope I pull him first, and I hope I clap him up.
Being for real, these are 2 of the most solidly built teams in the tournament, piloted by 2 of the smartest players, and both players respect that going in.
I've always had this suspicion that he would kick my butt.
Yeah, this is the kind of team that I was expecting to face.
This matchup honestly to me looks really even. Spore is free into a lot of Brendan's team at a glance, but he also has Worry Seed, which can not only prevent a Pokemon from falling asleep, but also wake them up. Then again, Fungus can tank attacks pretty well from both Voltorb and Jupiter. It can pivot in and out, and it can threaten Cottony with Sludge Bomb. Choice Band Gligar has a lot of power, but if Brendan locks into something other than Dual Wing Beat, Assault Vest Crafty will become a problem. Put simply, there's no simple path to victory for either trainer, meaning this is going to be a good battle. Justin leads off with Porygon and Scraggy into Brendan's Porygon and Gligar, and right off the bat, there is some huge info.
My Porygon is faster, potentially.
Both Porygon get special attack boosts, meaning there's a lot of damage on the table. Here are the main threats. Scraggy could fake out Gligar, and Porygon could Ice Beam it. Gligar can KO Scraggy with Choice Banded Dual Wing Beat, and Brendan's Porygon is just threatening big damage to everything. Brendan thinks he knows what's coming.
I pick up a quick KO. They're probably gonna fake out my Porygon.
Okay, honestly, I actually think this might be one of my better plays.
Both Brendan and Justin terrestrialize, turning Gligar into a ghost type and Scraggy into a poison type. Justin's Terra Poison would keep Scraggy safe from Dual Wing Beat no matter what, but as the icing on top, the move misses, and Scraggy fires back with a huge knockoff.
Yes, Gligar is gone, and so is his Terra. That's beautiful for me.
Nice. That's pretty bad, obviously.
Porygon does decent damage back to Justin, but this was a huge turn 1. Brendan has lost his Terra, and his main way to handle Scraggy. Justin sees a way to push his pressure.
I think Terra Blast knockoff might just get this P2.
Yeah, and that's probably just gonna KO Porygon, right? Oh, wow.
Porygon just barely hangs on, surprising both Justin and Brendan, while Jupiter surprises yet another player with its damage output for the 4th time today.
Ow, that did so much.
What he's not surprised though is the Trick Room Porygon sets up, and in fact, he's happy to see it.
Good.
Brendan has one turn to dish out damage, but Justin's got something trusty lurking in the back. He switches Porygon into Fungus, tanking the liquidation as Scraggy goes down. Now Brendan could have Ice Beamed that slot, it's true, but first of all, Terra Blast would have made more sense into Porygon, and second, he would have needed to double up to take down Fungus, meaning Scraggy would have gotten the KO on Porygon anyway. Now Justin has Spore Pressure, and his Focus Sash Ghastly hits the field.
Ghastly. Wow, they didn't bring Gligar. Fascinating.
Justin's in a favored position, but he's still feeling the pressure.
I really got to close this game out because if he gets, I know his adjustment's going to be difficult. I already know his adjustment is going to be difficult. Like, I'm in a decent position because he hasn't started with the Voltorb stuff yet.
In this case, Justin doesn't even need to Spore. Sludge Bomb finishes off Porygon, while Ghastly does huge damage to Jupiter and breaks its sash. Brendan reveals Cottony as his last Pokemon, who, you might remember, has no attacking moves. With Jupiter in range of a KO from any combination of attacks, Brendan forfeits game 1, meaning Justin is now just one game away from the finals. That was a pretty convincing win from Justin, but both players know that if turn 1 had gone differently, the winner also might have been different.
Okay. So the dual wing beat miss was super nice. Very happy about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the turn 1 kind of just really messed with me. He predicted, well, he doubled up. So either I Terra or I don't Terra, and it still gets the KO. Gets a knockoff off on anything if I choose to switch. That was a really clever play in turn 1 by Justin.
It's always hard to adjust when luck plays such a big part early in the battle. Brendan didn't even really get to see how his lines would play out. Will he switch up his plan? Justin certainly seems to think so.
Alright, this Voltorb, this dang Hisuian Voltorb is a problem. I think he's going to do that this game.
Game 2 starts, and it's Lit and Jupiter versus Porygon and Scraggy. This is a very nice lead for Brendan. Jupiter's Clear Amulet means that Scraggy's Intimidate does nothing, while Litten weakens Scraggy and Justin's Porygon gets settled with an attack boost to boot.
Positioned correctly, could kind of just clean up.
See, Gligar's dual wing beat can threaten a KO on almost every Pokemon on Justin's team, at least the ones he brought last game. Scraggy gets blown back if it doesn't Terra, as does Fungus. And while we've seen a lot of Fungus live dual wing beat thanks to Citrus Berry, Brendan's Gligar is holding a Choice Band, giving it the extra damage it needs. And since dual wing beat hits twice, Ghastly's Sash might as well be a piece of spare string. Brendan just needs damage on Porygon. The turn starts, and Scraggy goes first?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, I'm faster than the Litten? How? Ah, that Will-O-Wisp sucks. This is gonna hurt.
Remember, this is minimum speed Litten for Trick Room. Brendan might have taken damage, but he's done some great damage to Porygon, which could help Gligar later, and Scraggy is now much less threatening. However, this is where Brendan's slow Litten comes back to bite him. Scraggy's able to get a free knockoff into that slot, where Brendan has no protect. Litten goes down, and with only Jupiter threatening damage, Justin feels free to bring in a Pokemon that's done so much for him this entire tournament, Fungus. Fungus eats a Liquidation, which actually still does a ton of damage.
Why does that do so much damage? I know, it's Water Bubble, I know. I would just prefer if it didn't do so much damage. You know, I think that's a sensible thing to ask, actually.
With Justin's team weekend, it's time for Brendan to bring out Gligar.
It kind of has to Terra here. I can't really punish that.
He knows that Justin's Fungus has no Protect, but he also knows that it's Terra Water, so he's gonna try and bait it out. The turn starts, and Fungus doesn't Terra.
I'm quite shocked at that move.
Oh, crap. U-turn. Why did he U-turn? Oh, if I get the Spore off, it's going to be huge.
Brendan read just a little bit too hard here, and he's punished by a Spore into Jupiter and the loss of Porygon's Eviolite. With Jupiter asleep and Fungus under threat from Porygon, Justin brings in his own Porygon, while Brendan opts to switch in Gligar.
Would like to eat a turn of sleep, but I think I kind of need to just get off damage, especially because he's like super passive right now.
Justin Snarl slows down Porygon, but Brendan finally has Gligar in position. Now, this is the most important turn of the battle. Brendan can finally freely click Dual Wing Beat into Porygon and threaten a KO. It all comes down to this. Did he do enough damage earlier to pick up this knockout? If so, Gligar can run away with the game. The turn starts, and with no Protect available to either of Justin's Pokemon, it's Gligar moving first.
Oh! God, like, Porygon 2 is so good. Porygon 1, even better.
Oh. Ah, just barely. That's unfortunate.
Porygon lives with 2 HP. If not for the Snarl earlier, Brendan would have picked up a huge KO. If Porygon Ice Beam Gligar, this game would be over. But instead, Justin clicks Recover, putting Porygon out of range of another Dual Wing Beat, but leaving Gligar alive. It's still not over. With that Jupiter switch, Brendan has burned his mandatory turn of Sleep, and he still has his Terra available. He has to use it on this turn, and he needs Jupiter to wake up. Ghastly turns into a Ghost type and attacks Scraggy, finally removing it from the field. Porygon's Ice Beam does really nice damage into Gligar, and Jupiter stays asleep. Now Justin has a totally safe play. Protect plus Ice Beam. Gligar goes down, and the win is as simple as clicking Dazzling Gleam plus Terra Blast.
Sweet.
Thanks to his faster Porygon, Justin takes out Brendan's last hope. And even though Jupiter does wake up, it's far too late.
Good games, Justin. Played well.
Our first finalist will be none other than Justin Karras. Now it's time to see if I can join him there. I played Billa multiple times before, but I've only played Lou once before, and it was before we even knew each other very well.
You played him on ladder?
Yeah, so I played him on ladder, and he used Perish Trap, and I didn't know what that did. I had no idea. But I remember just being like, I took all his Pokemon down except one, which obviously is just his strategy with Perish Trap. But I didn't realize that. And I remember being so proud that I took down 3 Pokemon from the Wolf Click. And then, because I was like, just Pokemon fangirl, I then went on Twitter to be like, Wolfey, was that you? You O-code my it was 2016. It was like, you O-code my Xerneas with a turn 1 Sludge Bomb with your Gengar. Like, I don't know why I thought that was cool. But I thought it was cool, because I was like,
we've all been there.
yeah. And then Wolfey was like, yes, it was me. That was the response. And I remember being so excited.
It was me, but this time, I'm not feeling so good about the matchup. Billa and Lou might not have brought the real cat, but they do have Intimidate and Eviolite Porygon, aka some of the exact same tools that Brendan used to beat me. Numel doesn't appreciate the strong special attackers, or the knockoff, or the Corphish. But looking at their team, I do see an opening. Sure, Scraggy is a problem for my team, but this Scraggy is Terra Stellar, meaning it cannot get away from a Moonblast. This is a game for none other than Cutiefly, and that also means it's a game where I can click the move that I've been dying to see all day, Aromatic Mist. The plan is simple. Get up Aurora Veil, get my Numel smelling nice and aromatic, and go from there. I lead Vulpix and Cutiefly into Duskull and Glimmet, which is not the lead that I was expecting. There's a lot to think about, but my heart, I know what I want. Aromatic Mist plus bring in Numel like really appeals to me. That's not right. Oh, it has Leer. Duskull has Leer, so it can actually cancel out my boosts. Like, I think Aurora Veil might be smarter here, but I think I want to go for this. I really want to see Aromatic Mist. I know that Aurora Veil is safer, but God, I really want to see this move. The turn starts, Numel comes in, and that kills. Okay, I've never seen this animation in my life. It sucks. It sucks so much. You can I barely noticed it. In fact, it's so hard to notice that Billa and Lou have no reaction. They drop my Cutiefly down to Focus Sash and set up Trick Room. This is bad. I've gone for the setup, but I didn't do it properly. Numel might be tankier against Glimmet, but it has no attack boost, so Billa and Lou can just ignore it. And that's exactly what they do. They bring in Scraggy, dropping my Numel to a pathetic -2 attack, and Nightshade my Riolu switch in, while Numel does basically no damage. This is still bad. They're tanky, but the problem is that I don't actually have anything to take advantage of the tankiness. I might not even be able to Terra here. I'm fighting a tough battle against the Scraggy. Meanwhile, Billa and Lou are fighting their own battle against their cats.
Oh, Gimli. We're now widescreen. Click lock in your move first.
5, 4,
Quick.
Two.
Lock it in! What are you? It went down to 1 second. You stressed me.
I get coaching up on Streptobeeb, but Billa and Lou very smartly take down Riolu, meaning Numel isn't going to get a single attack boost this game. High horsepower goes into Scraggy, but it just holds on. I bring out Alolan Vulpix, but this feels terrible. Every play looks bad to me. Yeah, I don't really see an easy way through this, in all honesty. I go Protect, plus high horsepower again. But I'm +0 with Numel, so not being boosted is a big problem. They don't necessarily have Grookey as the last. It's not, yeah, but they can just switch out here. And actually, if they switch out and I KO Glimmet, then I'm playing down him on because my Rabombi's 1 HP and will die to poison. So I got the Aromatic Mist off, but I don't think it was the right move with the benefit of hindsight. Billa and Lu read my Protect and show off one of Simple's other downsides by leering into Numel, dropping my defense back to neutral so Scraggy can do gross damage into it. Okay, so I take a KO, but I mean, this is not looking good. I have +0 attack. I only have +2 special defense. My Numel. This has got to be one of the weakest Numels of all time. However, Corphish now comes out, and I do see a potential way to win. If I go Terra Water this turn, keep Vulpix safe, and knock out Duskull, I will burn the last turn of Trick Room. Then Vulpix can come back in and freeze dry. The turn starts, and Cutiefly takes the most overpowered Crab Hammer of all time. But the real turn starts now. Yeah, okay. Okay, imagine high horsepower was a 2-hit KO, right? Because my Numel is dying, but if I hit high horsepower here and it 2 shots, is it going?
Even better. Oh, levitate.
Oh.
I forgot about levitate. Oh no.
Or maybe he thought there was a switch. I doubt he would have forgotten. That would be very unwolf-like.
My bad. At this point, I can only order the freeze or a huge misplay from their end. I didn't know Duskull had levitate. The other ones don't. I mean, I knew it somewhere in my brain. I just forgot it. But they make the smart play, protecting and setting up Trick Room again. Yeah, Trick Room is so hard for my team. But I think the Scraggy made it more difficult. They KO my Vulpix, taking game 1 and setting me and my team up against a very tiny wall.
How huge was the Intimidate in taking out Riolu immediately?
Yes, getting rid of the Riolu was key.
They're right. My team is just so bad against Intimidate, and Duskull was also a huge problem. Trick Room is rough for my team, and Nightshade is a move that I hadn't even thought about. It does set damage no matter how tanky I make my Numel. I hate to admit it, but I don't think that Streptobeam is the play here. So what is? I lock in my team. For the battle, I have to win to even have a chance to make it to finals. Game 2 starts, and it's Duskull Glimmet again, but this time I brought Riolu and Sandshrew.
He did bring the Sandshrew. That's interesting.
I'm fine with this lead. It's not great, but it's okay. Because I resist rock. I just go for Iron Head here and coaching. I think. I check their team sheet to be sure, and do they have Will-O-Wisp? Whoops, that's not good. Okay, well, we'll figure that out later, because that might be, I forgot they had Will-O-Wisp. Okay, I get the flinch, it's fine. I flinched these. Well, this is fine. I know how this turn's gonna go. I'll force Glimmet out, flinch Duskull, and the snow boosting it, they didn't switch. Wait, what are they doing with Glimmet? Meteor Beam? Sludge Bomb? Sludge Bomb, maybe. That's not good. I don't resist rock. I don't resist rock even a little bit. The type chart. Miss? Oh, that's not good.
Yes, Glimmet! Sorry, it is a real thing and I got scared.
I'm sure I die to this. That's the game. I lose the game on the spot. No joke. Not even a little bit of joking. I literally lose the game on turn 1. Okay. I genuinely think there's no way to win this now. I forgot that I didn't resist rock. I am so stupid. I go into Poltergeist here as my only option. Oh no! I've been reaping the benefit of other players thinking Riolu is a steel type, and now I lost because I forgot that Sandshrew isn't only a steel type, it's also an ice type. I've lost my setup mon on the first turn, and all that's left for me is to watch as my supporting cast tries their best with really no hope. No, I can't because I get poisoned. That did nothing. Riolu is the worst mon of all time. Okay, it's fine. Don't poison. If it doesn't If I get really lucky, I might still be able to do this. But that is clearly not what Pokemon has in mind for me right now. Oh, it's turbo over. Oh my god. I'm not even getting a kill. Okay, here's so I can still win this. Copium? Yeah, the poison I could life to, we're on the Nightshade, but with the poison, yeah, I'm not doing anything here. Okay, chat. What I need is about 1 million ice freezes. I mean, I've only got 1 freeze this whole day. Maybe I can freeze their whole team? Who am I kidding? I just start to admire how cute Glimmet is. I'm pretty sure this battle is over, but Billa and Lu are still taking it super seriously.
I think you started the thought, I finished it, and you're like, yes, that's what I was going to say the whole time. You just let your wife's little brain catch up.
And I get it. The only way that I could win this, by the way, if you're curious why I haven't forfeited, is because there's still technically a small chance With Glimmet down, maybe I can freeze 40 billion times, but I can't even attack with Trick Room up. I need a Crab Hammer miss. Or show me Crab Hammer miss. Crab Hammer into Poltergeist for a miss, and we're back. Crab Hammer into Poltergeist for a miss, and we're back. I don't even think I healed enough. Okay, Crab Hammer. Okay, this is part of the plan. Now they Crab Hammer miss. They hit, and they killed me. Oh no. Okay, new plan. I just need a couple more life dues and then I can win this. I'm doing my best, but I mean, this is looking so doomed. Lou and Billa's team is incredibly smart. Nightshade racks up so much damage, cutting through my team along with poison and burn. I can finally end this charade. I had a feeling I wasn't making finals after that turn 1. But as for Lou...
This smells like the finals.
This is game 2.
It's game 2.
I forgot this is game 2. Oh.
The first miss of Crab Hammer all day. Close combat for revenge, but the crab is too strong.
It's too good. Can I click these ones? There we go.
Yes, you may finish up.
I forgot this was game 2.
Corvish finally misses Crab Hammer and then misses again just to rub it in. Did they miss again? Why couldn't you have done that earlier? Congrats to Billa and Lou, who absolutely boomed me, and with their beloved Corfish nonetheless.
Think of all the Corfish plushies we can get.
This is
We
funny.
can have a little army of Corfish.
Lou wasn't aware that there's prize money on the line for
I had
this
no
tournament.
idea. No.
So after we made it to top 4, I broke the news to her, and she's like, "Oh my god, we're gonna buy so many plushies, so many."
Well, I just wanted
plushies."
one little of the sitting cuties Corfish. I've actually looked at it and I can see it already, but it's quite funny. It like falls forward, which I think kind of sums up Corfish generally. But yeah, now we can have like 10 Corfish.
Absolutely, full army.
Right.
Shiny one as well, maybe a blue one.
Oh, I don't like the shiny. It's got to be the original ginger.
All right.
So at the end of the day, it's the favorites who've made it to the finals. Justin, the most prep player in the tournament, will face down his kryptonite, Lou, who's seeking to keep her crown as the queen of Little Cup, with Billa's help.
How to make me feel pain. As I've said before, she's my bracket demon. This is a chance to do something special, okay? I've never beaten this woman, ever, in any Pokemon set. I need redemption.
It's one super prepped mind versus the power of 2, who didn't even think that they'd make it here.
Sorry. Finals was not having this on my bingo card.
It's Glimmet versus Fungus. It's Birthday Boy versus the Anniversary Couple. Finals starts now. Thanks to the group stage match, both sides know exactly which Pokemon they need to target down here.
But he won't give us that this time, but we need to be ready.
I did kind of tell him earlier, like we were just going through the Fungus. Maybe he'll now know that. He won't remember that.
He won't remember that.
This is if I get through the Glimmet without taking too much damage and don't lose to that late game Porygon.
This is competitive Pokemon at its peak, where both sides have to consider not just what's in front of them, but what happened before. Every call is going to come weighted with the memory of what happened last time, and the cutest Pokemon on the planet will either win or pay the price. It's game 1 of the finals. Billa and Lou lead off with their trusty Duskull Glimmet, while Justin starts with Porygon and Scraggy.
I'm much happier with not seeing the Grookey lead.
Will-O-Wisp is an immediate threat here, but Justin's won battle after battle even when Scraggy gets burned, just by spamming Snarl, and that's his plan here. Justin could knock off Duskull, but he's afraid of Trick Room, and he sees a safer play. He knows Meteor Beam is coming, but he's fine with that.
It's gonna do a lot, I know. It's gonna do a lot.
Justin's ready for the damage, or so he thinks.
Holy crap!
The damage is more than he expected, but the worst is yet to come.
Please hit the Glimmet. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I didn't hit either. That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. Freeze. Get a freeze. Okay, what a start to the game. I mean, jeez.
Justin thought he was safe, but he didn't account for the 1 in 100 double miss disaster. He hasn't slowed down the other team at all, his Scraggy is burnt, Porygon is on death's door, Glimmet is boosted, and Duskull can start dishing out Nightshades.
Double Snarl miss. Like, if I win this game, I am unbelievably goated.
That's the spirit, but Billa and Lou undeniably are in control, and they know just what they want to do.
Safer with the Fungus now knowing the Meteor Beam's gone.
Okay, what I'm thinking here is Porygon can protect.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to double into it with Nightshade, which, like, Glimmet is KOing it anyway.
Yeah, but if it switches.
Whatever switches, yeah. And Scraggy is bad.
Justin switches Porygon into Fungus, who takes a painful chunk from Glimmet's Power Gem.
Ow. At least I survived.
Scrafty snarls, and this time it connects, but it's too little too late.
Oh, thank you, Scrafty, for, finally doing something.
Nightshade takes Fungus into the red, and even back at neutral special attack thanks to the snarl, Baloo's Glimmet is still terrifying. Justin sacrifices his Porygon while Scraggy fires off another snarl, but Snarl does nothing to cut down Duskull's damage output. Thanks to Porygon's noble sacrifice though, Justin is able to finally get Ghastly in. Baloo need to get rid of this Pokemon. Ghastly could KO Duskull or do big damage to Glimmet. They lock a double up into Ghastly, who protects.
Are they gonna double the Scraggy? What do you think? Ah, finally. I got to read right. What do you know?
Justin Drain Punches Glimmet for impressive damage considering that Scraggy is burnt, and somehow he's gotten himself back into this game. Bill and Lou have been careful not to give Justin a Trick Room that he could exploit with Fungus, but now the speed is fully in Justin's favor. Ghastly can KO Glimmet, and Scraggy can go for Duskull. The turn starts, and as expected, Ghastly takes out Glimmet.
Goodbye, you little tortellini.
Now the big question.
This does knock off KOS now.
Please die. Please die. Thank you. Alright. We weathered the storm. I still have my Sash intact. Most of the things that are going on right now are decently good.
Let's review the game state. Justin got a Pokemon lead, but both Scraggy and Fungus are weakened. Focus Sash on Ghastly is important, but it's under threat from Corfish's Aqua Jet. Billa and Lou have big threats left, and they can Trick Room. But if they click it, Fungus in the back becomes a major issue. Crucially, neither player has Terrastalize. The big question this turn is one that's familiar to all players from Game 1. Will Ghastly protect? If Billa and Lou read it correctly, they can take out Scraggy. If not, Ghastly can do big damage. They lock in another familiar play, protecting with Corphish while Porygon attacks. But this time, it's not Trick Room.
But with this play, we should be able to either KO the Scraggy or bring it in Aqua Jet range.
Snarl does a bit of damage to Porygon, but Porygon takes down the Scraggy, and Justin is left looking at a turn where he could have done damage, but protected instead. Fungus comes out, and once again, Justin's lack of protect makes this turn very simple.
The Fungus, because it can protect and it's going to Terra Water. So I think we're doubling into it. We're going to KO it, and then next turn
we deal with the Ghastly.
Yeah.
Both Porygon and Corphish are out of range of Ghastly, and it can only take one KO at a time with Shadow Ball. That means he only has one option. He sets up Nasty Plot, accepting that Fungus is going down, and now he needs some luck.
And then I just have to double crit, I guess.
Aqua Jet goes into Ghastly, breaking its Focus Sash, and what needs to be the luckiest Dazzling Gleam of all time comes out.
Oh, Corphish even hangs on at +2. Is Corphish okay? Like that, this is not a normal Pokemon.
Not only does Corphish take that hit like a beast, a crit wouldn't even have finished off Porygon. Billa and Lou take game 1, and now they're just one game away from a very nice anniversary gift. Honestly, it's pretty remarkable that Justin pulled that back to be so close after such a terrible turn 1, a testament to just how good of a player he is.
I don't think it was like massively detrimental, but it still was very... As the player, if you double miss Snarl, that's going to make you stress.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
You know?
But Justin is a veteran here.
Justin, for his part, is not caught up in it. He's thinking about what he can do better.
I wasn't that scared of the Duskull. Although Drain Punch, even before, I could have gotten rid of the Glimmet right away. I could have recovered and Drain Punched. And I could have knocked off. I can do a lot better at this game.
As for Billa and Lou, there's still one Pokemon that they're worried about.
This is what happened in our pool game. We won game 1. We didn't win it comfortably here. And in the Swiss, it was a little bit more straightforward. And then in game 2, he destroyed us with Fungus. It was a slow, drawn out, painful game 2 for us. So how do we avoid that?
Both players have made their adjustments, and now it's no holds barred for what could be the last game of our very small tournament, but one that feels very, very big. Justin leads off with Scraggy and Ghastly into Baloo's, Scraggy, and Porygon. It's the Lizard and the special attackers on the field, though Porygon did get an attack boost. This is a nice position for Justin. Ghastly's Dazzling Gleam is threatening big damage, though Scraggy probably should live thanks to the Assault Vest.
They're running the calc on this Gleam. They're gonna be like, how much does this do?
Actually, Justin, they're dealing with the cat.
We need some moral support up in here. If you jump and claw me, though, I will scream.
The turn starts, and Justin Scraggy goes first, faking out the Porygon while Ghastly fires off a dazzling gleam.
Surely we'll have... Yes.
We are a Salt Fist, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Justin has been playing this whole tournament preserving Ghastly's sash, but here he's finally let it go. Now, once again, Billa has a question.
Yeah.
Is he letting Ghastly go down here?
Lou doesn't know the answer, but she knows the catch-all solution. It's the same ethos they've been using this whole tournament.
It's close combat to Scraggy.
We'll do it. Let's just take damage. All on the offensive. Remember what we said from the beginning. Foot on the gas, pedal to the metal.
The turn starts with Scraggy terastallizing to Poison, the exact adjustment that Justin made in Game 2 of their group set, a typing that is very hard for Billa and Lou to deal with. Ghastly knocks out Scraggy and gets good damage on Porygon, while Scraggy knocks off the Billu Porygon Eviolite. Porygon fires back with Ice Beam, finishing off Ghastly. It's 3 Pokemon left to 3. Things are still very even. Justin brings out his Porygon, but these Porygon are not equal. Justin's has its Eviolite still intact, but there's another Pokemon who still has its item that's hitting the field. It's Billa and Lou's biggest threat, Limit, and with no protect on Justin's side of the field, a Meteor Beam is sure to come out. This could be the turn that decides the battle. Justin's Porygon will live a Meteor Beam for sure, but will it survive a double up? And moreover, will Billa and Lou's Porygon even attack first? Or will they Meteor Beam the Scraggy slot? Justin thinks about the turn till the timer hits the last second, and decides to take a risk.
Yeah, I think I have to take this risk. Also, if I'm not faster, I'm gonna be so upset.
The sound of a Pokemon switching out is music to Billa's ears, but not to Lou's.
Special attackers. Don't speak these things in. You can never get too far ahead of yourself.
Meteor Beam charges up.
Can we please miss a Meteor Beam? Since I missed a Snarl, can I get some justice on that?
No, but I believe in this limit to hit its Meteor Beam.
But it doesn't miss. It goes straight into Porygon, dealing the massive damage we expect by now. And Billa and Lou's Porygon goes first.
No! Oh, thank goodness.
But the power of Eviolite is too strong. Justin's Porygon hangs on with 8 HP, and now it can fire back.
What? I knocked you off.
Both Porygon are holding on, and now Justin knows that his is slower. Billu have all the momentum here. With a few turns right, they can close it out, unless...
Whoa! Don't stress me out like this!
Justin's in trouble, but he's not out of it yet.
Yeah, I'll bank this play. I'll bank everything I have on this play. I know.
In this moment, one chance left, Justin is taking a play from his biggest rival, Lorsy. With Rage Powder potential on the field, he's predicting Glimmet to terastallize to grass in order to take down Porygon. So he's gonna Sludge Bomb that slot, angling to remove the biggest threat in one fell swoop. Justin brings in Scraggy for Porygon and sees the Terra animation.
Yes, okay. No, this could still be Porygon. Please don't be Porygon. Oh my god, I'm so screwed.
Unfortunately for Justin, he doesn't know that Billa and Lou are operating on 2 core principles. First, pedal to the metal. Second, see Fungus, kill Fungus.
One special attack.
Okay.
So it's most like...
No, we can do this, we can do this. Come on, Porygon. Yes! We took down the Fungus! Gimli, there's no more Fungus. We don't have to deal with Fungus. So proud of our little mascot over here. Yes. Boop.
Justin brings out his Porygon next to Scraggy, his last 2 Pokemon going up against Glimmet, Porygon, and 1 more Pokemon in the back. Sludge Bomb KOs Justin's Porygon, while Snarl fails to pick up the KO. And now it's Scraggy and a 3 against 1. And yet, despite everything,
there's like the most minuscule chance that this is not over.
Justin still has a minuscule chance. Snarl should KO Porygon on this turn, and Glimmet is getting its special attack dropped again. If it can't do enough damage, there's a chance, however minor, that Justin could heal through the damage with Drain Punch. If it's Grookey in the back, Fake Out would wrap things up for sure. But if it's Corphish, Power Gem does a lot of damage to Scraggy, but Snarl drops Glimmet again, and Porygon finally goes down. Now it's time to see Billa and Lou's last Pokemon.
Now we bring in Corphish, and I would like to click the Corphish buttons. I love little Corphish, it's great.
I mean, it had to end this way, right? Bill is Glimmet and Lou's Corfish, the happy couple walking towards their very likely victory. Justin needs to Drain Punch and pray for a Crab Hammer miss, but Bill and Lou aren't going to risk it, and they lock into Aqua Jet, and for the last time, the damage it does leaves everyone in shock.
Oh my goodness,
Corfish got the
adaptability.
final
GG's.
KO!
The hero of the tour.
Corfish! Corfish!
Yay!
Oh,
my god. That's,
Rip.
That was a good win.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
With that, Billa and Lou take the tournament and are crowned the champion. Happy anniversary, guys. Huge kudos. Honestly, they played out of their mind, and I really love the team that they built.
A few things about the team. We wouldn't have neither Duskull or Corfish if it wasn't for Lou.
That was my contribution.
And like they literally won us the tournament. Game 1, we got the Duskull Will-O-Wisp onto the Scraggy that really helped us. The Nightshade was really good, and Corfish just like both semi-final and final was just dealing so much damage, even taking the last knockout. Yeah, Gimli isn't quite aware yet that we won.
We had a Litten all the time. We did have a cat.
And we have Spriggatitos. We have plus Luminun. That's like our abilities today. Together we got stronger.
We had a Magikarp, because I'm not going to lie, this really echoes my personality the whole way through this tournament. I kind of splashed around, occasionally did something good, but then I had you supporting me every step of the way. So, yay! Best anniversary treat ever. Thank you so much, Wolf, for inviting us along. Like, you have no idea. It was really, really lovely.
And thanks to all the opponents, of course. The rematch against Justin, like nail-biting sets for sure.
Also, everyone who played in the tournament got some prize money. Justin, for example, got $500. So yeah, no one's walking away empty-handed. I'd like to say a special thank you to everyone who participated in this tournament. It's a lot to ask of people to give up a weekend day and to spend time preparing and building and learning a new format, but it was a ton of fun, and I'm really grateful to everyone for participating. Also, a special thank you to my friend Zane, who helped me write this script. It was a lot of work. There were a lot of games that had to be watched, and yeah, Zane, you're a real one. If you enjoyed this video and you want more content like it, the bad news is that this is kind of like a new thing that we've been doing, and so there aren't that many videos that you can watch, but you can check out the Auction Invitational, which is also a similar tournament style video where we host a tournament with a fun rule set. And if you like the video and you want to see more fun tournaments, let me know down below, even if you want to see this tournament return for everyone to run it back. Thanks for watching.